number 8 of 9 in the regular season on a great night from Bryan Stadium. It's game time on YurView. It's the Iowa Western Game of the Week. Omaha Bryan against Omaha Benson. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Bryan Stadium along with John Schreiner. I'm Gary Sharp. Tonight, John, 2 1-6 teams meet. Now, both eliminated from the playoffs, but don't try telling these two teams there's nothing on the line for tonight, and most importantly, nothing on the line for the future.
Well, it's certainly right, Gary, and as you said, 2 1-6 teams, but that doesn't mean that we have a game that's devoid of talent. There are some big-time players on both sides of the ball here.
Let's start with the Benson Bunnies, and just like the youth movement all throughout the Metro, they have a running back that's pretty versatile out of the backfield and catching the ball in MESIAH Block.
Yeah, MESIAH Block, he's a well-built sophomore. You're going to see nice leg build, good body. He can catch the ball. He's really fast out of the backfield. They're going to use him a lot like Elkhorn South uses Moses Bryant. Now, he's not on that level yet, but you're going to see a lot of similarities.
For Bryan, you will see one of the best pass catchers in the Metro tonight in senior JAPRECE LILLY.
Yeah, JAPRECE LILLY, number 8 in Class A in receiving, and he is a house call incarnate. Watch for him on tunnel screens, crossing routes. They love to get him across the field, and then he will put it vertical. Guy can house it from just about anywhere.
We got the keys to the game coming up next. It's game time on YurView from Bryan Stadium. Benson and Bryan tonight.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
Welcome back to Bryan Stadium along with John Schreiner. I'm Gary Sharp. It's game time on YurView, the Iowa Western Game of the Week. Bryan and Benson, one team will walk out of here with their second victory of the year. How are they going to get it done? Let's welcome in the third member of our crew, Megan SCOGLIO, with the keys to tonight's game. Megan?
Hey guys, let's start with key number 1 and let's take a look at Omaha Benson. Their first key is to sling it. Benson's only victory this season came against Omaha South when they threw just shy of 300 yards. That's the only time this season they've thrown for more than 175. Key number 2 is safety play. They run a 4-2-5 defense that depends on 2 inside safeties. They need to cover slot receivers well and help fill holes to stop the run. They also need to be aggressive. Switching it over to Omaha Bryan, key number 1 for them is pass protection. Benson has a DN, Devin Williams, who has recorded a sack in 3 of their last 4 games. The line needs to stop him and give QB Desmond PRUSIA time to throw. Key number 2 is tackling. Benson has some guys that can make you miss. They need to rally to the ball and put a body on the ball carrier. Gary?
Thank you, Megan. Bunnies and Bears, oh my. Kickoff of the Iowa Western Game of the Week is next.
Bouncy ball. Look, it's almost alive.
Advertising used to be simple. Make an ad, put it on TV, get results. Today, with all the new viewing options, it's a lot more complex. At Cox Media, we make the complex simple. With precise targeting, transparency, and automation, we connect advertisers to audiences. Anyone, anywhere, on any screen. Advertising simplified. Contact Cox Media to learn more.
You're the decision maker, weighing every option to make the smartest choice. That's why you start with Nebraska Medicine, an entire network of top providers working together to keep you healthy. From extraordinary primary care to world-leading research and treatments, so you can be confident everyone's health is in good hands. The state's most comprehensive care in 19 locations. Nebraska Medicine.
You're watching this week's Game Time on YurView, the Iowa Western Game of the Week. It is the next to last regular season Friday night. Game time on YurView. Omaha Bryan and Omaha Benson, which is coached by Tony Kobza, now in his 6th year, 6-46. Both of these teams 1-6, as we mentioned in the open, John, and both respective head coaches have the challenges, but Tony is very optimistic about the future of the Bunny football program.
Well, and I had a chance to sit down with him and talk about just what he thinks about that future, and sort of in the process of trying to build a youth program around that Benson community and get some kids involved at a younger age and keep them in the school system and get invested in the team at an earlier age, which is something they've just really been lacking over the past decade or so.
Both these teams are evenly matched here tonight. Benson won their first game of the year. For Omaha Bryan, their second-year head coach, Tyler Johnson, they won their first game of the year earlier this year, and it snapped a 28-game losing streak when they won 18-15 at Central. Tyler, a Council Bluffs, Iowa native, 1-15, but just like Tony Kobza, his peer across the way, feels very confident on where this program is going. Both of these respective head coaches know it's a challenge with both of these OPS schools. We actually are just a shade into the city of Bellevue here tonight at Bryan Stadium. Beautiful facility. A big thanks to Bryan Athletic Director Rob Lockett and everyone else that has made us welcome here. This is our first appearance at Bryan Stadium. As we get set for kickoff, Benson will kick off to Bryan. This is a non-district game. Lots on the line, though. A lot of pride on both sides. Preparation has been good on both sides this week, and that's a good sign when you're in week number 8 and you've had some challenges and things have gotten sideways on you. So we're going to look at the Bryan offense first as we get set for the opening kickoff. Anthony Ignowski, who is the starting quarterback for Benson. And we are underway with a little pooch kick. And it will bounce, and it's recovered by Benson. They catch Bryan off guard, and
he didn't control it,
They're going to call it out of bounds.
He did not control the ball.
Bobby Luster Jr. thought he had it and stepped on the sideline, but Bryan again, miscommunication on the kickoff. Nobody went after the ball, which is live. And, well, hold on. They're now going to reverse that. We'll see. Well, he did not. They have given the ball to Benson, though.
Benson offense is on the field, so
Benson will have the football to begin the game from the 36-yard line.
How about this? We thought it might be a little bit weird, and the weirdness begins with the opening kickoff.
Well, buckle up, everybody. This should be a good one. We're really happy to be here at Bryan Stadium. Great accommodations. MESIAH Block is the man in motion. And Ignowski tosses it to Block, trying to get out of the backfield and try and get positive yardage, and he'll be thrown down by Antoine Curtis. As we're going to get another look at this kickoff that is ruled in possession of Benson.
I think he did control it, Gary. He took a couple of steps with the football and then fumbled it out of bounds. So my assessment here is it's the correct call, an onside kick recovery by Benson to start the game.
Block got nothing on the opening carry of the game. 159 yards rushing this year. 339 receiving. And he's the man in motion. And he gets the handoff from Ignowski. Avoids the defender in the backfield. Now trying to make some moves. Got towards the 30-yard line, which would be a pickup of 4. Gage Newman was able to wrap him up and then got some help as we look at the Benson offense. This is an offense that scored 26 against Papillion La Vista, but most of the time it's 2 touchdowns or less, so they're going to have to rely on their defense here tonight. Anthony Ignowski is a relatively new starter. We highlighted Block. Lee, Smallwood will be some of the others that you'll hear their names mentioned a lot tonight. So this sets up a 3rd down and 5 after Benson recovered the little pooch kick to begin the game. And Block carries for the 3rd straight time, and he's got a seam over the right hash, and he's got a 1st down before he is hauled out of bounds by Sean Jackson. And a new set of downs for the Benson Bunnies, and a look, John, at the Bryan defense.
Yeah, and they've got some players, but not real big up front in that 3-4 look. 200, 190, you know, at nose tackle and defensive end, those kind of players, and you're just going to kind of struggle against the run a little bit. So your linebackers and safeties are going to be real active tonight.
They'll snap the ball for the 21-yard line. Snap back to Ignowski. And he hands off to the up man, and carrying it is Jalen Smallwood with a good carry out of the senior running back who starts at tailback. You look at the Benson Bunnies, who back in the 90s, Benson was one of the top teams in Omaha, as Smallwood's first carry on Game Time tonight, and a good pickup of 7 yards.
And you see one of our keys to the game for Bryan was tackling. If you watched him on film last week, it just did not get it done against Pena Vista South. A lot of arm tackles on that run by Smallwood.
Smallwood this time is wrapped up for minimal gain. He maybe got a pickup of 1, so it'll be a 3rd down and short again for Benson. The last 3rd down they converted just underway from Bryan Stadium. Benson and Bryan on week number 8 of a 9-week regular season schedule. Benson hasn't been in the playoffs since 2009, but from 94 to 2001 with Lonnie Tapp as their head coach, they went to the playoffs 6 times. They were producing all kinds of talent that ended up at the University of Nebraska that we'll talk about as we move along tonight. 3rd down and 4. Ignowski in the gun. The odd set, and now block. Ignowski's pass is caught by Luster, and it is enough for a 1st down. So the quick snap to Ignowski, and the slant by Luster, and a good catch on a high throw.
Yeah, great catch by Luster to go in there, put his body on the line, and make the play. First pass of the night for the Bunnies. We kind of thought they'd come out and sling it a little bit. Had success against Omaha South early in the season, but this whole drive's been mostly on the ground so far with MESIAH block and Jalen Smallwood carrying the load.
This is an offense that averages 89 yards a game on the ground, 136 through the air, and they've driven all the way down inside of the 10-yard line, and a whistle before the snap. And we'll get the first time tonight we introduce you to our referee, Greg Ottoman. And offside on Bryan, so a break for Benson. That'll move him closer to the shadow of the goalpost.
Well, when you're a team that's struggled to win games in the season, and both of these teams certainly know what that is, the self-inflicted wounds are often the ones that cut the deepest. And Bryan has now started out with, you know, a failure to recognize the pooch kick, no communication to pick it up, and then now a penalty deep in their own end to really set up what could be an easy score for the Bunnies.
1st and goal from the 4, and Smallwood is rocked almost as he took the handoff from Sean Jackson, the second leading tackler on this team. He came in and made the big hit from his linebacker spot.
Yeah, Jackson just puts a body on Smallwood. That is how you want to see tackling from this team. Body to body, chest to chest, put the shoulder into somebody and get him on the ground.
See Jackson working with a banged up right hand. Now it's 2nd down and goal. Benson's lone victory this year was the opening Friday of the season. They defeated Omaha South. They lost 49-7 last week to Creighton Prep. Snap back to Ignowski. Play action. Now he's chased out of the pocket, looking in the end zone. Throws in the end zone. Touchdown. It is caught by Gabe Mefford from 4 yards out. And a good drive by Benson after recovering the opening kickoff.
Well, this is a good scramble drill by Ignowski and company. The corner gets caught peeking, and the post route to the back of the end zone just comes wide open. You're going to see Ignowski roll out, and look, the corner on the outside, it's Mefford. He gets caught with his eyes in the backfield, not staying with his receiver. And wide open, easy touchdown.
Anthony Ignowski, sophomore quarterback. Good couple of weeks, and his PAT is way wide of the pillars, and so it'll be 6-0 as Ignowski throws his 5th touchdown pass of the year to Gabe Mefford from 4 yards out, and that's how we start. The Bunnies convert a couple of 3rd downs, they get a break with a penalty, and they put it in the end zone as Gabe Mefford, the senior wide receiver, who also starts on defense, makes the catch, and it's 6-0 in favor of Benson.
Thank you for your support of the Bears.
Well, as we said, a lot of running the ball early and on in this one. Smallwood, MESIAH block, getting a ton of carries, then the big catch by Luster on the outside, and then great play by Ignowski to escape pressure and find the open man.
It is Friday the 13th, by the way. Everybody on the crew shared their superstitions before we began tonight. If we have time, we will go through everybody's superstitions on Friday the 13th. So hopefully you're not in fear of that date.
We certainly hope so, because we got a football game to do, Gary.
6-0 on the touchdown pass from Ignowski. John also later in the show will be sharing his favorite scary movies. John and Megan have put together a list. They've checked it twice. As long as Michael Myers is on there. We should be good.
I just love it when you're in charge of directing the game, Gary.
Ignowski with another pooch kick, and it's recovered by Benson again.
Wow.
Roland Mays Jr. caught the kick that kind of got caught in the wind, barely went 10 yards. Mays was there to make the catch before anybody from Bryan had a chance to react. And back-to-back kickoffs by Benson, they recover him. And look at the kick here.
How about this? Just high in the air.
It went 11 yards.
Around, and how about it?
Mays Jr. with the recovery, and a consultation between the officials on if the ball traveled far enough. As you saw there on our view, it did. One is saying no, it didn't. Yes, it did. Up there'll be. Now they're going to call penalty. They will call penalty on Benson.
Flag on the play on the buddies.
So
it'll be Bear football.
Bryan will get the football. Tony Kolja is out on the field trying to figure out what exactly Benson did wrong. And probably should get used to this strategy tonight. Second straight kickoff. They've gone with a short kickoff trying to recover it. The first one they did to begin the game, and they put it in the end zone. This one they recovered, but they're called for a penalty. And now we will look at the Bryan offense. Bryan again earlier this year won at Omaha Central, snapped a 28-game losing streak. This is an offense that is still trying to find its way. They haven't scored more than 18 points in a game, but as we documented in the open, as Tony Kolja, I guess, got the explanation that was okay for him as he paces up and down the bunny sideline. Watch out for JAPRECE LILLY. Desmond PRUSIA is the quarterback, and good field position. They start from the 36-yard line, and they start on the ground. And a good pickup by Walker, weaving his way into the secondary, and he's thrown down inside of the 20-yard line. Jalen Walker, a sophomore running back.
Jalen Walker he's a big boy at 5'11", 190. I think his weight might be understated just a little bit because he's got some big shoulders. He was running through tacklers left and right. Walker with a big gainer on first down.
Bad snap. PRUSIA has to track it down, and he's thrown down. He wasn't going anywhere when he had to scramble for the football, and Devin Williams, who Megan highlighted in her keys to the game, makes his 22nd tackle of the year, 5th tackle for loss, 4th sack. So if you have him in your fantasy league tonight, you're off to a good start.
Well, we talked about already self-inflicted wounds, and here's another big one for the Bears. Just the center quarterback exchange, the most basic fundamental of offensive football, and it just didn't work out on that play.
Benson with a 6-0 lead. They missed the extra point after Ignowski found Mefford in the end zone. And the long tackle for loss pushes the ball all the way back to the 36-yard line. It is 2nd and 27, so basically it's from here to Douglas County. And in the shotgun, the handoff to Walker, lead handoff. And he'll maybe get back to the line of scrimmage before running into that Benson defense that runs, John will highlight a little bit later as we move along tonight, a 4-2-5 defense. But first, let's look at the Bear offense. JAPRECE LILLY, pass catcher. You've already seen Jalen Walker. Desmond PRUSIA, the quarterback, is the 9th leading passer in Class A. He's only a junior. A lot of optimism on both of these sidelines, despite both of them being 1-6 on the season.
Watch out for tight end Antoine Curtis, 6'4", 185, good athlete. He can get down the field too.
PRUSIA has 4 wide receivers to work with, but he also hears whistles in his helmet. There is a flag before the snap and a legal procedure. The bottom of your screen, and that'll push Bryan back. So it'll make it 3rd down and 31. And here is the defense. John, they run a 4-2-5, which we don't see a lot of in the Metro.
No, you don't see a lot of it in high school football around here, period, honestly. It depends on athletic players at those 2 inside safety spots, as Megan mentioned early on. And those 2 guys have to be good. They really have to make plays because they're instrumental in the passing game, and they have to fill on those running plays as well.
Probably 4-down territory here. Walker is in motion. Another wide receiver moves, and that'll push Bryan back another 5 yards.
False start on the Bears. Be a 5-yard penalty.
So it'll be 3rd and 36 for Bryan. which has scored 73 points in their 7 games this year. There is the Bears sideline. Tyler Johnson in his 2nd year. They're coming over from Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. And another movement by a wide receiver at the top of your screen. And pushing back another 5 yards. But Tyler Johnson has really worked on the team bonding. Off-season workouts, guys staying together. They've done just that. They got a little boost in the program. The uniforms they are wearing tonight were purchased by Amir Abdullah, who hosts his summer camp here at Bryan High School and invested in the Bryan football program with their uniforms. You get a look at Tyler Johnson. He calls timeout. He's about had it now. That's 3 straight procedure penalties on his wide receivers. When you return, it'll be 3rd down and 41. 6-0. Benson leads Bryan. It's game time on YurView, the Iowa Western Game of the Week from Bryan Stadium.
Okay, it's decision time. I want to experience a 4-year college in 2 years. I want to live on campus but get to my career faster. I want to get started now. Find your path at iwcc.edu and get hands-on, real-world experience. Start now at Iowa Western.
Where will the next generation of caregivers come from? Who trains them? Who mentors them? Who inspires them? At CHI Health, we believe in the power of education. As partners with Creighton University, we are advancing a new era of academic health care. We're researching and collaborating to bring more minds to every case, every patient, every day. We're giving the future of care a new home. CHI Health. Imagine that.
Lots of playoff positioning on the line. You look at the Bryan student section. They dressed up because you know what? It's almost Halloween. 3rd down and 41. And the pass is dropped right in the hands of Lilly. And it'll be 4th down. So all of a sudden, after beginning this drive on the 36-yard line, Bryan pushed back into their own territory by their own doing. They will have to punt the football away. And look at Desmond PRUSIA, starting quarterback for the Bryan Bears. Over to get some instruction on the sideline. But we will keep you updated. There are some key games tonight. Bellevue West and Omaha West Side, Omaha North and Millard South. We will have the showdown next week for a district championship between Bellevue West and Omaha Burke. As Bryan is forced to punt, and they punt it away. And it will get a good bounce for the Bears, and it will come to a dead stop at the 11-yard line. We'll get our second look at the Benson offense, which is already up 6-0, courtesy of Anthony Ignowski, touchdown pass. And let's look at the season so far for the Benson Bunnies. Got off to a good start. They beat South. Now they're trying to snap that 6-game losing streak here tonight. And that schedule has not been kind to them. You see Creighton Prep in there, much improved Fremont team. Next week they take on Kearney, who is currently 7-0, taking on Creighton Prep tonight out in central Nebraska. We'll keep you updated on that game as well.
Yeah, it's been a rough go, and Tony Cobes will tell you as much, that they have not performed the way he would like them to.
You're in a district with Kearney, Creighton Prep, and Fremont. That's not easy. Anthony Ignowski, though, is the quarterback. He might make it easy on Benson. Scrambles away on the run, moving downfield, lofts one towards the sideline, and it is caught for a 1st down. Good job by Ignowski to get out of the pocket, run it down the field, and then just loft it up, and it was caught by Jaleel Lee.
Well, just great communication between quarterback and wide receiver here. You see the pressure comes, Ignowski escapes, he waves his hand, says go, go, go. Jaleel Lee reads it, makes the catch. Nice gain on 1st down for the Bunnies.
Ignowski, the last couple of games, he settled into the quarterback role, but now there is a late flag, and this will push Benson back. So everything nice we said about Ignowski and Lee. We apologize to their families. There was a penalty that has erased that.
And sometimes that happens when the quarterback's scrambling around back there, an offensive lineman kind of forgets where he is and gets too far downfield.
Both teams have gone backwards here of late. It should be first down and 15. And the snap over the head of Wignowski through the end zone, and it is a safety.
Bingo card, Gary. Did you bring it?
Had a feeling, because it is Friday the 13th, that it could be a strange, strange night at Bryan Stadium. And the misguided snap results in the first points for the Bryan Bears.
Well, Wignowski not even really looking for the snap when it came, and it just sailed over his head out the back of the end zone. 2 points for the Bears.
So it is now 6-2 here in the bottom of the first inning. And Benson will have to punt the football away to Bryan. This is a non-district game. Again, both teams have been eliminated from the postseason. Both coaches will tell you this is an important game for the remainder of this year and, of course, the future. Both of these rosters are relatively young as they're trying to find their footing in Class A, where they are on the, well, especially with Benson, the lower end of the enrollment scale. Benson just recently returned to Class A. There was a brief time recently where they went down to Class B. And you would think, okay, in football, that's a break. Well, as you know by now, Class B in this area is very, very good, as we saw last week with Elkhorn South, the #1 team in Class B that has won 33 in a row, and tonight they're taking on Elkhorn Mount Michael. And thank you to everybody that stuck with us last week during the weather. They did finish that game on Saturday morning, a game that was won by Elkhorn South. So Benson elects to kick it off after the safety. And this will be returnable for Lilly across midfield into Benson territory before he is gobbled up at the 49. So another good start here for Bryan with field position, John. We'll see if they have any better luck than they did the first time when they shot themselves in the foot with 4 penalties.
Well, the other thing here is that safety could be critical. We kind of expected a tightly contested game, one that might be a back and forth, one score type of contest, and a touchdown late maybe could win it, but now with that 2 spot on the board for Bryan, they have a definite advantage.
PRUSIA in the gun, Walker to his right, fakes the handoff, keeps it on his own, runs right up the middle, and rips off a 4-yard carry on first down.
So both teams here tonight so far kind of going against what they've conventionally shown throughout the season. Both teams really trying to establish something on the ground earlier in this one, perhaps seeing something on film that the other one had a little bit of a deficiency defending the run.
Bryan in the forest green and gold. PRUSIA put it up on second down, finds his wide receiver, and he's got lots of room down the near sideline. William Grigsby hauls it in, and plus yardage. That's a first down, and he was wide open.
There's not a Benson defender. That's the run by PRUSIA to start the drive, but there was not a Benson defender within 15 yards of Grigsby.
PRUSIA to put it up again, and this pass is short. The intended wide receiver was Antoine Curtis. It'll be second down and 10.
Yeah, PRUSIA never really got his feet set on that throw. He's still kind of fading back as he released it, causes the ball to come out low, and tough catch for the wide receiver.
Now, one thing that safety does do is it, you want it on offense, but the last 2 weeks, Bryan has been shut out. They get beat by Millard West and Papillion La Vista South. So they have a 2 spot on the board, and they're trying to add to it. Halfway through the first quarter from Bryan Stadium. 6-2 Benson. Second down and 10. And the delayed handoff, and Walker scoots his way to the 25-yard line. And that'll be a pickup of about 3. It'll be third down and short as you get a look at Jalen Walker, sophomore running back. 2 really good sophomore ball carriers in the game tonight. Walker, who now over 300 yards rushing this season.
Something to build for on both teams for sure. A couple of good sophomore backs in this one, and we saw MESIAH block earlier. Good looking player.
Third down, PRUSIA to put it up. His pass is caught again by Grigsby. And it will be just a shade short of a first down as Grigsby, the second catch on this drive. His crossing route came free on the near side and made a good catch. Pushed out of bounds. It will be fourth down, and Tyler Johnson will go for it.
Much better mechanics from PRUSIA on that throw. Got his feet set. Let it go. Good job by PRUSIA on that play.
So fourth down and 2 as PRUSIA looks over at a 4-man front in the gun, and Benson jumps offside. That will be a first down for Bryan.
Critical errors now, both teams in the penalty battle. This one, the freebie first down after you'd got him to fourth. Tony Kobza not going to be happy about that one.
Tony Kobza in 2013 won 2 games. He's 6-46. As he told John in a really good interview at YurView.com that we recommend sometime, not right now, but sometime, read it and you'll learn more about the Benson program, the commitment by Tony Kobza and the challenges that he has. But he feels that they're going to come out of the back end. Likes where they're headed. The two teams meeting tonight, both 1-6 on the season. Fresh set of downs for Desmond PRUSIA. High snap, and now he's chased out of the pocket. Rolling to his left, throws towards the end zone. It is caught, touchdown. JAPRECE LILLY in traffic makes the catch.
When we get to see this replay, watch the tremendous body control by JAPRECE LILLY, and you'll get a sense of why we chose him as our featured player tonight. He's a really good athlete. Watch this play. Good play, first of all, by PRUSIA to get outside. Look at this, coming back across against the way he's running, jumps over the defender to make a catch. That's a really good catch.
The senior catches his 7th touchdown pass of the season. And a whistle before the PAT. As Bryan has taken the lead. That has to feel pretty good. It's been a while since Bryan has played with the lead, but very impressive. They get the bad snap that goes through the back of the end zone for the first 2, and then a good drive. William Grigsby, a couple of big catches, and JAPRECE LILLY with the touchdown catch as PRUSIA throws his 8th touchdown of the season. And JAPRECE LILLY will enjoy this one. High snap, and the holder is knocked down. The ball comes loose, and the PAT attempt is not even tried. So will remain 8-6 as Bryan now has the lead. Let's look at this drive that started in good field position for the Bryan Bears.
And a couple of big throws to Will Grigsby that kept this thing alive. PRUSIA doing a nice job back there, evading the rush, and then just a heck of a play at the end of that one by Lilly to score the touchdown.
Next Friday night, we remain here in Bellevue. Omaha Burke and Bellevue West, a matchup of the number 2 team in the state and the number 4 team in the state, and Bellevue West, which has the longest winning streak in Class A at 20 in a row, the defending Class A champions. They're in a battle tonight at West Side. They are through a quarter, and the West Side Warriors, who we've seen a couple of times here on Game Time on YurView, up 14-7. Next Friday night, 7 o'clock, Joe Ziski, sharpen your pencils. There's going to be a lot of offense in that game. That'll be for a district championship. And if you're looking at playoff seeding on the final week of the high school season, that's a game that you want to win so you avoid being in the same side of the bracket with number 1 Omaha North, who was muy impressive last week against Omaha Burke. 3:34 to go here in the first quarter. Danny Lee kicks it out of bounds, almost by our crew. We're very disappointed that no one made a play on it. Well, we will work on that in the off week, and we'll make sure that our ball catching skills. You see, Megan SCOGLIO is the smartest person over there because she ran way away from the ball as it was going out of bounds. And that's a penalty on Bryan, and it'll be good field position for Benson. Their 3rd offensive possession of the night. They scored on the opening drive. Anthony Ignowski with a touchdown pass, but then pushed back due to a penalty inside of their own 10-yard line. A bad snap over the head of the quarterback, rolled out of the back of the end zone, was a safety, and then Bryan turned it into points. Benson gets it back down 8-6 from the 35-yard line, and we get another look at the sophomore quarterback, Anthony Ignowski. Mefford was late getting on the field. Now they got to get him lined up. That's at the top of your screen, and there's all kinds of confusion. Block is in motion. The handoff to Smallwood, and he is hit in the hole by Jalen Walker, who goes both ways for the Bears. That play was discombobulated from the start. I'm surprised that Tony Kobza did not take a timeout.
Well, and it's a little bit strange right now. We saw Benson come out with that first series after they recovered that onside kick to start the game, and then looked really good, running the ball, moving it down the field, put it right in the end zone, and then the offense since then has kind of gone into a little bit of a tailspin, trying to find their way and figure it out here.
Benson High School, one of the oldest high schools in the state of Nebraska, opened up in 1904. John could tell you everything about that opening day of school. Ignowski out of the backfield, a little toss into the flat. And good job to make some positive yardage on a play that looked like it would be for a negative. But the catch and run by Lee, who comes up a little bit gimpy. You see him, he can't put any weight on that right leg as he trots over to the sidelines. But a good job out of the backfield, because that had all kinds of trouble written all over it.
Well, we told you there were some players in this game. You know, you look at the records and you see 1-6. There must not be very good players. Well, it's not entirely true. There are some good players on both of these teams. You saw the great catch by JAPRECE Lilly, Jaleel Lee making people miss, MESIAH block. There's some things to watch here.
Here is block. He's a sophomore. He's got a first down, and on cue, he hears John talking about him, and he takes the quick handoff around the end for a first down. One thing that, and you are absolutely right as we've gotten to know both of these teams, the biggest thing is you look up and down the sidelines tonight, there just are not many youngsters wearing helmets compared to some of the other Class A schools where they have much more depth and you don't see as many players having to go both ways. MESIAH block, I beg your pardon, a sophomore. Snap back to Ignowski. He's got good time. Throws across the middle, and it's almost picked off. Almost intercepted by Jack WIEBELHAUS.
That was close. This was not a great decision by Ignowski. The route gets undercut, and WIEBELHAUS almost gets it.
So the Benson offense weebled and wobbled, and they almost fell down, but they get a break, and it's 2nd down and 10.
See what he did there.
2nd down and 10 for the 41. Block is in motion again. And an inside handoff and lots of room. Smallwood streaking through the middle of the defense and inside of the 20-yard line.
This is the thing that Tyler Johnson told us in pregame, was that they needed to limit big plays. If they could limit big plays, he felt like they had a chance to win. Well, here's our first real big play of the game, the little inside handoff. And there goes Smallwood, just trucking right through the middle of the defense. Thankfully, on the back end of that, Darnell Polycarp makes the tackle for the Bears.
Really good play call and a fresh set of downs. As you see where Smallwood lines up in this formation as we near the end of the first quarter. Now he's in motion to the other side. And this is a toss play. Running near side, John Looney Thomas is bottled up in the backfield. He had no time to make a cut or even a read, and Looney Thomas is thrown for a 3-yard loss. 8-6 in favor of Bryan. Coming up at halftime, Nate Newhouse will be here with us. Nate is from the NSAA. He's in charge of football. He'll explain all the wild card point system to Megan SCOGLIO. But Nate is, in our business, fantastic to work with. He makes it so much easier on us to do our job representing the NSAA. And we'll let you meet Nate at halftime when Megan chats with him. Block in motion again. There's a lot of people in motion. And right now in the game of football, that's not allowed, and that'll be a penalty.
Well, you say right now, I don't think it's ever been allowed in the game of football. And these procedure penalties, I will tell you that it is really starting to weigh heavy on these head coaches. And you see Tony Kobza right there with the crossed arms and the little scowl. Procedure penalties have bitten both sides early on in this one, and now 2.5 mile for the Bunnies.
Block. And held up from behind as he goes down. Malik Jones reached out, grabbed him by the shoulder pad, but blocked with a nice burst of speed. And there is a Bryan player injured. Stops the clock with 5.4 seconds to go here in the first quarter. And another good drive by Benson. And we've all been there as Darnell Pulicart trots off the field. Appeared to be a pulled muscle.
We'll call it whatever you want, Gary. He's not on the field.
And the clock starts, and the clock expires, and Benson will not get a play off. We are done with one quarter at Bryan Stadium. Bryan 8, Benson 6, but the Bunnies are driving when you return for the second quarter of Game Time on YurView.
Charles Drew selected Cox Business because in the healthcare arena, it is imperative that we have transfer of data that is reliable, flexible, and fast. On average, Charles Drew Health Center has about 33,000 phone calls a month. With IP-Centrics, the system was very intuitive, and it allowed us to be reactionary to the needs of our patients. Cox Business Solutions has allowed us to be more efficient and effective in meeting the needs of the greater Omaha community. Cox Business is a great partner.
At Woodhouse Auto Family, the buying experience is different, and the over 27,000 customers who bought from us last year know why. Our knowledgeable sales staff know the brands, the products, and take time to get to know you and guide you to your perfect vehicle. And that experience continues with any of our 16 service locations, and with trained advisors and technicians to help you maintain your vehicle. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse.
When kids have internet access at home, they're more successful in the classroom. If your child is a K-12 student and your family receives government assistance, you could qualify for discounted Cox high-speed internet for only $9.95 a month. To enroll, call 855-222-3252 or visit cox.com/C2C. And while you're there, check out the Cox Digital Academy for educational tools and web tips for the whole family.
Start of the second quarter on a nice October evening for football compared to last Friday night when we were hit by rain and lightning. Start of the second quarter. Ignowski chased out of the pocket, has all kinds of time looking downfield, and now he'll elect to run with it inside the 15, cuts to the outside, and he's inside of the 10 and tiptoes down the sideline, steps out at the 8-yard line. Good command of the offense by Anthony Ignowski, who did not begin the year as their starting quarterback.
I don't believe he started the year as their second-string quarterback either. He's just been kind of forced into action by some extenuating circumstances, but I like it. Look at this. He just waits, lets it clear out, lets his receiver clear the space, and then takes it upfield for a first down. Good savvy by the young quarterback.
Quick update, Westside leads Bellevue West 21-7 in the second quarter. You get a good look at Anthony Ignowski. Now inside of the 10-yard line. Man in motion is blocked, and a flag is down. Kearney Prep playing tonight as well. They are scoreless through one quarter. Kearney is one of the few remaining unbeatens in Class A. And Benson pushed back 5 yards.
It's kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back for this Benson offense right now. Just need to find a way to put it all together. But you know, it's kind of been the story of their season. They make a few strides, and it looks like they're getting somewhere, and then something just drags them back.
Block again in motion. Inside handoff to Smallwood. We've seen this before, but this time the play doesn't go for many yards. Smallwood right into the heart of the Bryan defense. Gobbled up, and it'll be second down. 7-7, Millard South, Omaha North. Next to last Friday night of the high school football season. A lot of jockeying for playoff positioning over the next 2 weeks. So keep you updated all night long. As Benson now 2nd down and goal. Smallwood with the handoff. Spins to the outside. And into the end zone. Jalen Smallwood.
That's a heck of a run, because this play's meant to be run between the tackles, and there's nothing there. Smallwood spins out of one. Gonna get a look at it right here. Look, spins out of a tackle of Sean Jackson, gets to the outside, just breaks contain and gets to the end zone.
And Block went over there. Not sure that he actually made a block, but he was traffic, and that allowed Smallwood a small seam down the boundary to sprint into the end zone. And the PAT is up, and it is good, but there is a flag down.
Too many flags in this one so far. Just both teams not really playing fundamentally sound at this point.
Danny Lay's PAT was good, and personal foul called on Bryan. They'll assess it on the kickoff. And Benson is now on top by a score of 13-8.
11:03 left in the half. You have the Bears with 8.
We're going to look at this Benson drive. There were some stops, there were some starts. It ended in the end zone.
Well, it started with that kickoff out of bounds that gave them good field position. And then they had to play on both sides of the quarter break. And the big inside handoff to Smallwood really got it going. And then Ignowski with this nice run. But boy, that play at the end by Smallwood to get into the end zone, spinning out of a tackle, breaking contained, finding the edge. Nice run.
Benson started the game up 6-0. And then they allowed a safety, and Bryan scored. Now Benson is back on top. Again, Tony Kobza, who was from Northeast Nebraska, now in his 6th year. Won their first game of the year. Trying to snap a 6-game losing streak here tonight. Big day for Benson High, by the way. One of the best basketball players ever in the state of Nebraska is a Benson Bunny, Dave Hoppin. And tonight, Dave Hoppin, who went on to a stellar career at Nebraska and then into the NBA, is going into the Nebraska Hall of Fame in Lincoln. So congratulations to Dave Hoppin, a Benson Bunny. And if you ever make it over to the Benson campus in the Benson neighborhood, 52nd and Maple, you will see a lot of memories of Dave Hoppin. So congratulations to him, and such a great athletic history at Benson, from basketball to football and in between. The kickoff goes out of bounds, and Bryan now down 13-8. We'll have the football with 11:03 to go here in the first half.
You mentioned the late 80s, early 90s heyday for Benson. Just so many great athletes came through that school. Went on to play major collegiate athletics, and a few of them contributed to national championships down in Lincoln.
Walker almost mishandled the handoff, and he's able to bull his way for positive yardage. Also, going back even further, Niall Kinnick, who went on to the University of Iowa, won a Heisman Trophy. He is a Benson grad. This almost was danger for Bryan here. Walker had to handcuff him and was able to hold on. He got good yardage for the big running back, who's a sophomore.
Just lucky to hold on, and no real reason. That looked like a good exchange from the quarterback. Just got his eyes downfield a little too quick and didn't quite secure it, but he held on, and Bears are back in business again.
Got 9 yards, 2nd down and 1. Handoff to the up man, and this will be a first down carry. WIEBELHAUS with a pickup of 5.
Correction 11, Gage Biero. That play's good for a
beg your pardon, Gage Biero on his first carry of the night. Bryan, we've told you about Tyler Johnson, now in his 2nd year. Trying to establish a culture here. and he's trying to do it the fun way. Bryan was the first high school in the state this year, back in August, to start practice. The first time they could, they started at midnight on this field back in August. Kids slept at school. They made it a great team bonding event, and they're out there at midnight until 2 a.m. practicing. As Biero carries for the second straight time. Tyler Johnson was at Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson before he was hired here. He was an assistant.
Told us that he actually coached Cameron Baker in middle school. We got a look at Mr. Baker earlier in the season, and he's had himself a nice year over there across the river.
And received a visit today by the Iowa coaching staff led by their head coach Kirk Ferentz, who is in the Metro. The Iowa head coach has stopped at Omaha North High School, Omaha Burke, Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. He's at the TJ Lewis Central game tonight. And a quick hitter by Walker, and he's down the sidelines, and he's got a step to the end zone, but he's pulled down from behind. Touchdown saving tackle by Mays, but a big pickup by Walker.
Hey, Walker's got some wheels for a big man, doesn't he? He got to that second level, and he was ready to keep going. Good run.
Good vision. Kept the outside, threw out a stiff arm, raced by a defender, and Mays caught back up with him, but not before a 30-plus yard pickup by Jalen Walker. And Bryan is driving as they try and respond. Short carry. Lamondre Perkins with his first carry of the night. On defense, he's their leading tackler. Gives Walker a spell as Walker will come back into the game now. Second down and 10. 13-8 Benson.
Boy, it's starting to shape up like one of those games where whoever has it last might have the best chance to win, doesn't it?
We've seen these kind of games before. So tell your friends, come on over to 47th and Giles. Walker again hauling bunnies inside of the 10-yard line. Cut over the right tackle and just put his head down and got an extra 5, 6, 7 yards. It'll be third down and short.
Well, I think what we're seeing right now is, don't want to harp on it too much, but those two safeties, Mefford and Smallwood, are just not getting into where they need to be to force those plays back inside, and Walker's having all kind of success running up in between the tackles.
Desmond PRUSIA looking over the defense, hands it off to the fullback, and Barrio low into the end zone. He was stopped at the 1, and that extra effort puts him across the goal line and puts Bryan back on top.
That's a tough run, but I gotta tell you, he should have been tackled about 3 yards short of the goal line. Barrow is going to get the ball, and then right here, he's hit. He should be taken to the ground, but he keeps fighting, and then he's actually held up by that Benson defense, put back on his feet, and allowed to run forward. Just some shoddy tackling right there, but give all the credit to Barrow. That's a tough run.
So back and forth we go. Remember, it's Friday the 13th. Weird things happen. Barrio, no, he's not afraid of the end zone. And they will go for 2. The snap was mishandled, and Barrio will get the 2. So he scores the conventional way, and then he scores the 2-point conversion. And Bryan with a 16-13 lead as you get a look at the score. Game time on YurView.
At DieVentures, we want to create a full-service customer experience. Cox Business, as our technology partner, does exactly that. The team at Cox Business came in, took a look at our business, and recommended top-notch solutions. With IP-Centrics, we have a managed, scalable solution to meet all of our customer needs. We get hundreds of phone calls a day, thousands over the course of a week. Because we have Cox Business, we can focus on what we love to do, being on the water and in the water.
Where will the next generation of caregivers come from? Who trains them? Who mentors them? Who inspires them? At CHI Health, we believe in the power of education. As partners with Creighton University, we are advancing a new era of academic health care. We're researching and collaborating to bring more minds to every case, every patient, every day. We're giving the future of care a new home. CHI Health. Imagine that.
Along with John Schreiner, I'm Gary Sharp, our entire Game Time crew here on YurView. Glad to have you with us on the next to last week of the regular season in high school football. Some wild games going on. Are you not entertained with the start to this one? 16-13, Bryan now back on top. The #1 team in Class A, Omaha North, trails 10-7 to Millard South. The Patriots have won 5 in a row. There's 2 minutes to go there. Tomorrow, or next week, we have Bellevue West. Right now, they are in a challenge against Omaha Westside. They trailed 28-13. Burke and Bellevue West to close out the regular season. As Bryan, after the Barrio touchdown and the ensuing 2-point conversion, will kick off. With these teams 1-6. Bryan had been on a 28-game winning streak before they won this year. Benson hasn't won 2 or more since 2013. This is a very important game, and this kickoff will roll out of bounds. There'll be a penalty on Bryan, and good starting position for the Benson Bunnies, who we've been very impressed by their sophomore quarterback, Anthony Ignowski.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job moving around in the pocket, finding some open space, making mostly good decisions. He had one throw that probably should have been picked on that last, I guess that was in the first quarter, that he threw one that maybe shouldn't have been thrown, but he's done a real nice job of pulling it down when he needs to pull it down and run with it, finding the open receiver, directing the offense pretty nicely here to start things.
Coming up at halftime, we'll have the Bryan Band. We're looking forward to the Sugar Bears, the dance troupe for Bryan High School. As you mentioned, Nate Newhouse will join Megan SCOGLIO. We'll have highlights and stats. That's 7+ minutes away. Block in motion. Fake handoff by Ignowski. He's chased out of the pocket. Now has to step up, and he's going down for a sack back at his 29-yard line. Loss of 6.
Not good enough protection at all. Just protection was a little bit lacking, and Osmar Franco Barrios got in there, made the hit.
Side handoff the block, dancing to the outside, cuts it towards the sideline, now upfield, across the 40, and he's popped out at the 42-yard line. That's a pickup of 12, so it'll set up a much more manageable third down situation as MESIAH block the big second down carry. So Block and Smallwood have done a lot of damage on the field. Look at this little shake and bake.
And you see why Kobza is really high on MESIAH block. He got to play a little bit last year as a freshman, and he's just got that little shimmy, and then when he puts his foot in the ground, he does have an extra gear. He's a talented young player.
John described the way they use him kind of like Elkhorn South uses Moses Bryant, just in the reference of being all over the field. High snap again. Ignowski has to track it down. He tried to cover it. It got loose, and Bryan will recover it. Sean Jackson makes the recovery. Turnover by Benson, and Bryan's got great field position, already up by a field goal.
Oh, wow.
Fumble on the play, recovered by number 41.
There's some weirdness that happens here. Look, Ignowski's going to try to cover it, and Jackson comes through and actually kicks the ball out from underneath him. Just an oddball play, but now Bryan inside the 25 at the 21-yard line with a chance to extend this lead.
Second bad snap of the night, and both have hurt Benson. One resulted in a safety as it went through the back of the end zone. This as a turnover. This is Walker. And he hauls defenders for 9 yards. Jalen Walker doing the dirty work as Bryan trying to put the turnover in the end zone, already up by a field goal in what has become a back and forth game. And now they go with a little up tempo. Strong side to the near side, and Walker again, it runs right up the middle, and he is upended by Mefford, or he might have been standing in the end zone. That is a first down, and it's first down and goal for the Bryan Bears.
Walker looks like he's in for a career night, doesn't he? He is just keeping the chains moving.
And again, Bryan is picking up the pace. Benson's having trouble getting the right personnel on the field, and they're a little gassed, and Tony Kobza has to burn a timeout wisely. He had the wrong personnel out there, and he had some guys that were out of breath, were trying to get off the field. So he will try and slow the tempo down as Bryan is trying to put it in the end zone. This week's Over the Middle High School Football Recruiting Podcast, host Jeremy Crabtree talks with ESPN's Tom Van Haren. Also, they break down some of the new recruiting rules that are going on. Jeremy will be joined by UGAsports.com Radi Nabosil. He gets you up to speed on the impact of the #1 quarterback recruit Justin Fields' commitment to the University of Georgia. That's Over the Middle with Jeremy Crabtree on YurView.com. You like recruiting? You need to familiarize yourself with Jeremy Crabtree, one of the best in the business. And talking about that Georgia recruiting class, they have the #1 player in the class of 2018, a quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. So Kirby Smart on the field doing work in 2017, and the future looks bright in Athens. You can catch all of that and much more with this week's Over the Middle High School Recruiting Podcast that you can find on YurView.com. Can Brian John here find the end zone? They've got a first down and goal at the 8-yard line. Walker is at the top of the I. PRUSIA calls out signals, hands it off to the up man Berrio, who just scored a touchdown, and he is inside of the 5 to the 3-yard line for a pickup of 5.
Now, running between the tackles has just been all too easy from the Benson perspective right now. Bryan basically doing whatever they want, running the ball between the tackles.
And again, they picked up the tempo. Berrio cuts it to the outside. Mefford hauls him down. That's a touchdown-saving tackle. That'll bring up third down and goal.
And that's the play you're looking for from that safety walk down in the box. He's got to make that play. And for Bayro, you'd like to see him keep that thing up inside. He's got no help to the outside. That play is being blocked for him to cut behind that offensive tackle, and when he bounces it outside, there's just nobody out there to help him.
Gage Berrio with a touchdown, 2-point conversion. That's where we are. Bryan is up by a field goal. 5 minutes to go, first half. PRUSIA in the gun. Hands it off to Walker. Lowers the shoulder. And stopped at the 1-yard line.
Carrying the play by number 44, Jalen Walker.
And it looked like Cam Parks was in there on the stop. Made a good tackle on the big fella.
Desmond PRUSIA comes all the way over to the sideline. The quarterback for Bryan, and Tyler Johnson, will elect to take a timeout with 4:38 to go in the first half. And they will have it 4th down and goal at the 1-yard line as Walker was denied the score. Bryan 1-6 on the year, just like the counterpart tonight, Omaha Benson. Get a look at the nighttime sky here at Bryan Stadium. The big moment was on September 8th when Bryan scored late. It was actually Walker that got the game-winning touchdown. They snapped a 28-game losing streak, winning at Omaha Central, who the Eagles are still looking for their first victory this year. It's a very difficult district. You've got Lincoln High, who is 7-0 and now 8-0 after winning tonight against Lincoln Southwest, who fell to 5-3. Millard West is in the top 4. So when you're trying to play young players in progress, it can be difficult with a schedule like that. But these are the kind of nights you want to show progress, and we'll see here on 4th down and goal. PRUSIA under center. Tight formation. Bulls straight ahead, and there is a flag too early for Bryan. False start, and that'll push him back 5 yards. You're just tuning in. Both of these teams have been plagued by penalties tonight.
6-yard line.
That one could be real costly. That looked like it was about to be a touchdown. PRUSIA looked like he was on his way to 6 points, and instead it's -5 yards.
Tyler Johnson, who's trying to change recent history. Last year, Bryan was 0-9. They returned to 14 starters. This is a school that has not been in the state playoffs since 2007. They went in 06 and 07, but it has been a while. Lilly now to the bottom of your screen, and all kinds of motion by Bryan trying to get set. 4th down and goal, this time for the 6-yard line. And whistles sound, and a timeout is taken by Bryan. You had Lilly that was trying to find a home. Also Newman, they couldn't get lined up correctly, so Tyler Johnson takes his second timeout of the first half. Are you looking for a new career? You can explore our programs in business, health, and technology. Get going today on your career path by visiting iwcc.edu. Iowa Western, the world is waiting. Junior college football is waiting. The Reavers are now up to number 2 in the polls. So if they continue to win out, they will play for a national championship. Look at the Bryan huddle. Bryan has become known as a boys soccer school. And then Omaha South have become rivals.
Well, down here in the northern end of Sarpy County, we've got northern Sarpy County, southern Douglas County. You got Bellevue West, a very good soccer school. Omaha South, Omaha Bryan. Good football being played down here.
This high school, if you're wondering, because I know you're going to ask John when he leaves the booth, it is named after the Nebraska politician William Jennings Bryan.
Correct.
We'll have a history lesson later on in the show, so everybody prepare accordingly. 4:38 to go in the first half. Bryan, 4th down and goal from the 6. High snap. PRUSIA tracks it down, throws it outside of Lilly, and he was open, and the throw missed the mark, and Benson will take over after stopping Bryan in the shadow of the goal line.
That's a tough one. And again, it's mechanics from the young quarterback PRUSIA. Just doesn't quite set his feet. Has an open receiver, but throws a fastball in the dirt.
Big stop by the Bunnies. Ways now 31-13. West Side leads Bellevue West. Get you a full scoreboard update if we have time at halftime. Omaha North now leading 14-10 against Millard South near the end of the second quarter. Ignowski in the end zone on the shotgun snap. Lofts it deep down the field, and it is incomplete. Too far ahead of the intended wide receiver. He had Block and Lee out there. Maybe 2nd down and 10 for the Benson Bunnies, who in basketball, when things were really rolling from the Andre Woolridge days through Kyrie Thomas, they were the Running Rabbits playing at the Benson Garden. They had a stretch of about 10-15 years where they were producing some of the best talent this state has seen in football and boys basketball. Stephanie Jones, girls basketball, went to UConn.
Kiana Ibis, who just recently left Benson.
When they won the state championship back in 2014, and she's now playing at Arizona State. 2nd down and 10. It's time to keep it on the ground, and Smallwood's got a lot of green space, pushing defenders aside, thrown down by Jackson. But not before Smallwood rips off a 30-yard run.
Boy, Smallwood's looked pretty good tonight too, hasn't he? I can't say it enough. You can't just look at the record and say, well, they just don't have any players, because look at this. Stiff arm, run through a tackle. There are players on this Benson football team. They just got to figure it out.
Down by a field goal, fresh set of downs. Ignowski looks over the personnel. Got blocked behind him. Where Smallwood checked that. And this time Smallwood brought down in the backfield. Good defensive play. Coming up to handle the run was Lamondre Perkins, the leading tackler. Bryan, a lot of two-way players. Also in the month of October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, you see a lot of the Bryan players have pink eye black. So if you're wondering if there's something wrong with your screen, no, it's just a tribute to Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Is it still eye black if it's pink?
It'd be pink black. Ignowski, play action, rolls to his left, steps up, fires deep down the field. Oh, block was open. And he couldn't haul it in.
Just couldn't get his body quite sorted out. That ball was thrown a little bit inside, and he had to adjust his his route just slightly. See it right there. It was thrown just inside of him. And then the doink, the old doink. He's not going to like to see that in film study on Monday. He's going to catch a little bit of the business from the team on that one.
Now it's 3rd down and 11. They are not afraid to roll the pocket for Anthony Ignowski. Tony Kobza over on the sidelines, doesn't wear a headset. Calling plays. 16-13. Bryan with the lead. It's been a back and forth contest. Smallwood in motion. Snap back on the empty backfield to Ignowski. Steps up, throws deep down the field for Lee, and they are off the mark. And it'll be 4th down for Benson, and it stops the clock with 3:13 to go. So Bryan is going to get the football back with good time and relatively good field position after this upcoming punt by the Bunnies.
3 deep shots in a row by the Bunnies, really trying to make something happen. A big play on offense right there. And, you know, I didn't think the last throw by Ignowski was too bad. I just think Lee broke off his route for some reason and tried to cut underneath the defender, and the ball was thrown over top.
And the punt, not a very good one. Gets a little help on a roll, and it'll go out of bounds at the 48-yard line. That is a 13-yard punt. So Bryan will have the football with 3:04 to go in the first half, up by a field goal in plus territory.
Yeah, it looked like he just hurried it a little bit. He was feeling the pressure, like the punt, the rush was bearing down on him, and didn't get a good foot on it.
These are the Class A point averages as compiled by the NSAA. Omaha North, #1 in the polls, #1 in the points. 16 teams in Class A make it, 1 through 16. You want to avoid the Vikings. Walker sprints out to the far side of the flat. Prusia looked at him. Now Prusia stepping up, throwing a dart downfield. Wanted Lilly. The high pass was off his mitts. It's incomplete. Prusia almost crossed the line of scrimmage before he let that fastball rip.
No, it's a good play by Smallwood to come up and just put a body on him, make it hard to catch that pass right there. Good play by the defensive back.
Stops the clock. A couple of ticks under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Come to you from Bryan Stadium. Really good complex. They have good facilities here at Bryan. They have the lights on in the baseball and softball field, which is located directly behind us. Again, Walker out into the flat, stops waiting for a pass. Prusia looks elsewhere, and he hits his big target for a big gain.
Antoine Curtis, there he is.
Curtis, who is one of the best athletes on the team. He's also one of the tallest players on the roster. And has found himself a home right across the middle. Got on the slant. And then got really good yardage. There he goes. Oh, a little stiff arm and a grab of the face mask that Curtis got away with. But what he also gets away with is a big pickup of 26 yards to the 22-yard line. And Bryan is in business with a chance to put more points on the board before the end of the first half. Berrio carries it, cuts back inside of the 20-yard line. He's down to the 17.
Fullback run game has been a big part of this second quarter offense for Bryan, and feels like they're setting up something. They're going to fake that fullback and then pitch it out to Walker, or use that as a play action fake at some point.
You get a look at Curtis. He's 6'4" after making that big catch. 2nd down and 5. Bryan has 1 timeout remaining. The toss to Walker, running right. Oh, another stiff arm. He is upended at the 14-yard line, but these Bryan ball carriers, whether they're carrying on a handoff, a toss, or a catch, not afraid to stick that right arm out there for a little stiff arm action. As Walker just threw a Benson bunny to the turf.
He's a tough runner, and he's shown it a few times here tonight that he's not afraid to take contact and not afraid to dish it out himself.
Clock running. 16-13 Bryan. Prusia barks out the signals. Calls Walker's number again, and he's tripped up in the backfield. The defensive play made by Cam Parks.
And Cam Parks came through on a little bit of a blitz, maybe thought it was going to be a pass, but Park's in the backfield there to make the play.
So now it is 4th down and 2. 60 seconds to go in the first half. This is a Benson defense. The last 4 games have given up 41, 55, 49, and 49. Not a lot of urgency from Bryan as they break the huddle. PRUSIA checks with Walker, checks with his receivers. 2 to the bottom of your screen. Barks out the signals, and Benson jumps offside. Curtis was taken off in the top part. Ball start on Bryan. That'll push him back 5 yards.
Man, penalties on 4th down. Last possession, have the ball at the 1, 4th and goal. False start when it looked like PRUSIA was about to score. Now you got it 4th down inside the 20. Back yourself up again and just making it difficult on themselves with the Bryan Bears on offense.
38.5 seconds away from halftime. Megan SCOGLIO will talk to Bryan head coach. 4th down. And a sack. And a fumble. It is loose. And it is recovered by Benson. The sack by Montrell Simpson forces the fumble and the recovery out by midfield, and Benson with 20 seconds to go. They have a chance to get in field goal position to tie it before we go to the locker room.
Well, I'm not sure. Probably a shot to the end zone is what they were looking for there, and PRUSIA just gets ripped down and loses the handle on it. Now Benson going to come up with a chance to throw one toward the end zone and see what happens. Devin Williams, we told you at the outset, had a sack in 3 straight games. Didn't get one last week. He's got one here tonight.
Nowski, 4 wide receivers to work with. Pump fake, steps up into the pocket. Now on the run, crossing midfield, got to get out of bounds, and he's pushed out of bounds late, and that's another 15 yards. He was well out of bounds before he was pushed in the back by Jacob Wilhelm. Tack on 15, and Benson with 11.4 seconds to go. They're going to have an opportunity either to get to the end zone or kick a game-tying field goal before the end of the first half.
Well, another good play by Ignowski. He's looking for the sideline to stop the clock, and then he's into the white stuff, and there's the shove in the back.
That will move the football all the way to the 31-yard line. Benson has 1 timeout remaining.
Well, your kicker's had his issues already, so I would think it's a shot at the end zone, and then you reassess depending on how much time you got left.
11.4 seconds. Ignowski, who's thrown a touchdown pass tonight, throws it towards the end zone, and it is incomplete. He wanted Bobby Luster Jr. Now 6.1 seconds remaining. Doesn't appear, if you look to the Benson sideline, that they are thinking about a field goal as they're talking to Anthony Ignowski, and maybe one more play here in the first half.
Yeah, it might be a little bit far. You're looking at, what, 46, 47 yarder from this point. Maybe a little bit of a trick play in order here. You try to just run something, maybe hook and ladder, try to catch him off guard.
Ignowski, a long look at his left wrist. Lee in motion, fakes it to him, now chased out of the pocket, and he's sacked. And that is how the first half will end. Blitzing in to make the sack was Luis Hinojosa. The clock reads 0. The referee, Greg Ottoman, standing over the football. Timeout called by Benson with maybe a 1/10 of a second to go. This is, yes, timeout by Benson. This is one of the rare places that has 1/10 of a second on the scoreboard.
They're going to put 1 second back up on the board.
In most football scoreboards, you do not have tenths of a second, but that 1/10 of a second is going to give Benson one more chance.
Well, and we've seen it tonight, Gary, that this Benson offensive line hasn't done a great job of protecting Ignowski back there. He's had to scramble around quite a bit, but he has that ability. And if he can scramble out of something and just put one up, give a receiver a chance, something could happen.
He'll have to throw it about 40 yards in the air, and now he's going to be sacked. So back-to-back sacks is how we end the first half, as Bryan will go to the locker room with a 16-13 lead.
Your score, Omaha Bryan, 16.
Jalen Walker with the sack of Ignowski. Megan Scoglio down on the field. She will talk to Brian Bear head coach Tyler Johnson, who will be some excitement in that locker room. Good defensive stand. Hasn't been the prettiest game, but it has been a little entertaining. We had a little bit of everything, as Bryan and Benson both 1 and 6. The Bears are up 16-13. Here's Tyler Johnson with our Megan Scoglio. Megan?
All right, Coach, what do you think of that win? The defensive effort there to end the half.
You know, our defense has been playing lights out. We've made a lot of mistakes on offense and as well on defense, but the way we closed out that half, you know, we haven't done that in the game so far. So we're putting together a great first half. We just got to finish the game.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach Johnson. Thanks, Megan. It is 16-13. Bryan leads Benson at halftime. Lots for you coming up during the break. Highlights, stats, an interview with Nate Newhouse from NSAA. The Sugar Bears and the Bryan Band. Halftime at Bryan Stadium. Game time on YurView.
When kids have internet access at home, they're more successful in the classroom. If your child is a K-12 student and your family receives government assistance, you could qualify for discounted Cox high-speed internet for only $9.95 a month. To enroll, call 855-222-3252 or visit cox.com/C2C. And while you're there, check out the Cox Digital Academy for educational tools and web tips for the whole family.
Okay, it's decision time. I want flexibility, more doing, hands-on experience, and working sooner. I gotta make a choice. I want to get started now. Find your path at iwcc.edu and get hands-on real-world experience. Start now at Iowa Western.
Bouncy ball. Look, it's all.
Well, you're going to see some highlights. There were certainly, as both coaches would admit, some lowlights in this one, but Benson, onside kick to start the game. They recover it. Ignowski drives him down the field, finds Mefford all alone in the back of the end zone, and Benson would take a 6-0 lead. Not to be outdone the other way. Mr. Walker getting it done for the Bears. But maybe the story of that first half is the play of Anthony Ignowski. He's done a real nice job, and we've seen a few of those. The yellow flags have littered the field all night long, and the snap over the head out of the back of the end zone, and it was 6-2 at this point. Bears would come back. A couple of nice catches by Bobby. Rather, it was not Bobby Luster. He plays for Benson. It was Will Grigsby with a couple of nice catches that kept it alive. Made it 8-6. And then Smallwood into the end zone. And Benson was back on top. A lot of lead changes in that first half. Jalen Walker, he's had himself a nice first half. Gage Barrow, tough run here. That one put Bryan back on top after the 2-point conversion. And then we get a little bit of sloppiness. Bryan recovers the fumble after another bad snap. And this drive, it's going to see Bryan go all the way down to the 1-yard line, but then a penalty backs him up. The incomplete pass in the end zone keeps it at 16-13.
And keeps those ladies engaged. They're big fans of AC/DC. Beautiful weather here in October for this game. There is rain in the area, but we're going to be okay. 16-13 at halftime. Bryan leads Benson. And here is how the Bears got to the field goal lead at the break. As Benson with 117 yards on the ground, Smallwood and block, but a good balanced effort by Bryan. Walker on the ground and PRUSIA through the air.
Yeah, you can't really complain too much about the play of either quarterback. They've really done, both of them, a pretty nice job directing the offense. And then you've had Smallwood and Jalen Walker, the two running backs on either side of the field, have had nice games as well. It's been a well-balanced game and reflects the score pretty accurately.
14 combined penalties. We'll talk more about that in the second half. We'll see if that changes a bit. We'll see what changes Benson made. Tony Kobza, their sixth-year head coach, is joined by Megan SCOGLIO right now. Megan?
All right, Coach, how would you evaluate your offensive performance in the first half?
Offensively, I thought we were able to move the ball. We made a couple little mistakes that kept us from being able to score a few more points, but I think there's opportunities for us. We just got to finish drives.
And they had a running back, Jalen Walker, kind of giving you guys some trouble. What adjustments do you need to make in the second half?
Well, we got to stop tackling his shoulders. We got to. He's a big, strong kid. We got to be able to be willing to get dirty and tackle him around his thighs.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Megan. Third quarter kickoff is coming up next. 16-13, Bryan leads Benson on the Iowa Western Game of the Week.
Bouncy ball. Look, it's almost alive.
Advertising used to be simple. Make an ad, put it on TV, get results. Today, with all the new viewing options, it's a lot more complex. At Cox Media, we make the complex simple. With precise targeting, transparency, and automation, we connect advertisers to audiences. Anyone, anywhere, on any screen. Advertising simplified. Contact Cox Media to learn more.
Okay, it's decision time. I want to experience a 4-year college in 2 years. I want to live on campus, but get to my career faster. I want to get started now. Find your path at iwcc.edu and get hands-on, real-world experience. Start now at Iowa Western.
All of our registration systems and the staff systems are based in the cloud, so it's important that our internet connectivity is up all the time. To me, it was clear as soon as we met with Cox Business, they were going to listen to what we needed and design a solution for what was going to be best for us. Having Cox Business as our one provider has allowed us to more easily manage our daily processes. If anything happens or if there's anything I need changed, it's just a phone call or an email away.
This is Bryan Stadium. Those pictures are delivered by our fantastic Game Time crew on YurView. Don't forget, you can stay up to date on everything that's going on. We'll preview of next week's showdown, which should be a thriller in Bellevue. I tried.
You tried.
And then our playoff schedule. You can check it out at YurView.com. So we're glad that you joined us for week number 8 of the high school season. It's been a lot of fun this year, bringing you live high school football, the best pictures, the best analysis, the best stats, the best sideline interviews, the best smells, the best sounds. John and I would agree that this might be the best popcorn of the 8 weeks that we've had.
Strong showing for the popcorn makers here,
and
Brian.
For the price that you pay, it is a lot of popcorn. Rob Locken, the athletic director, he does it right here. Now, we ordered a couple of steaks earlier and they haven't arrived yet, but I mean, come on, Rob. Bryan will kick off to begin the second half, so Benson down by a field goal will put their offense out there. Who would have thunk it? This game began with Benson a couple of short kickoffs, one that they recovered to begin the game, and they put it in the end zone. So Danny Lay approaches the ball and kicks it into the nighttime sky, and this will be returnable for the Benson Bunnies. And a good return indeed. Dietrich Gallion up to the 39-yard line, and that's good field position for Benson. Again, Anthony Ignowski, they've given him some time, and they've been a lot of variety in place, but if you're looking here to the second half, probably Jalen Smallwood is the guy to focus on if he's going to be the person that puts Benson over the top.
Yeah, he only had 18 carries for 58 yards coming into this game. He's probably almost double that in yardage already.
Benson began the year 1-0, and on cue, Smallwood with the carry. Jackson with another ferocious hit. That's a pickup of 2 for Jalen Smallwood.
Yeah, 83 yards in that first half for Smallwood, so almost doubling his season total here tonight. He's having himself a day.
Benson finishes the year against Kearney next week. Kearney is leading Creighton Prep 7-0 at halftime. The Bearcats are 7-0. Second down and 8 for the Benson Bunny offense, and a familiar theme. There'll be another false start penalty. It's the 15th penalty of the game. By the way, we've been keeping you updated on Bellevue West, who we will have next week to close out the regular season on Game Time against Omaha Burke. Bellevue West has rallied. They now lead at halftime against Westside, 34-31.
That offense just scores points in a hurry.
Burke, by the way, up 21-0 on Lincoln North Star. Omaha North leads Millard South 14-10. Elkhorn South leads Elkhorn Mount Michael 21-0. Lincoln High has already beaten Lincoln Southwest 37-7 to go to 8-0. The pitch to Lee. And that play, John, started so far from the line of scrimmage.
Wow.
There's no way Lee was going to get positive yardage, and now he's down to the sidelines, possible cramping issue. And it'll be 3rd and a lengthy go of it.
You stole my thunder on the analysis here, Gary. Lee bubbles that play so far back. He catches the pitch about 7 or 8, maybe even 9 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It's when you start that far back, it's going to be really hard to make anything happen.
My apologies. We've been doing this for so long I could read your mind.
I know you can.
This is 3rd down and 15. They have to get near midfield. Ignowski, shotgun. Screen set up, and it's dropped by Smallwood. They had done a great job of sucking in the 4 defenders for Bryan, and if that pass is completed, Smallwood is running for a long time.
Had a convoy of blockers out in front, too. I think Smallwood just might have gone a little bit too far ahead. Needs to stay behind those offensive linemen. He was kind of mixed up with them. Might have contributed to the drop there.
By the way, you're talking about the Bellevue West offense prior to tonight. Their last 3 games had scored 183 points. They've won 20 in a row. Elkhorn South has won 33 in a row. And the punt will trickle inside of the 25-yard line. Or inside of the 30, I beg your pardon. Be down to the 29-yard line. As now Bryan, with a field goal lead, will be on the field for the first time here offensively in the second half. Are you interested in an exciting career in media studies? Would you like to be like John? Would you like to be like Megan? Maybe Andy, maybe Jacob, maybe Joe, maybe Greg, maybe Bob? Well, you can check out the opportunities in TV, radio, and sports promotions at Iowa Western. Visit iwcc.edu. Iowa Western, the world is waiting, and trust me, if you want to be one of us, we will wait for you as well to join the crew. Best Game Time crew on YurView. I'm talking to you in Oklahoma, Arizona, Virginia. We love our crew, and we love delivering Friday night high school football live for you. We'll be back with you next week for Burke and Bellevue West, and then a special bonus. The first 2 rounds of the high school playoffs will be right here on Game Time. From the 29-yard line, here's Walker with a man in front, and Walker, again, he was an ankle tackle away from pulling away and getting bigger yardage, but that's a good first down carry for the sophomore running back.
Well, and you see right there what Tony Kobza was talking with Megan about at half. Get him around the thighs. And a good job right there. And I think it was Mefford who got in there, got him around the ankles and pulled him to the ground. And he, Coach Kobza's right. You can't tackle Jalen Walker up high. He's going to run through it. Got to get down low and bring him down.
Walker again cuts it to the outside with a burst of speed down the sidelines. Headed towards the end zone. Can he win the foot race? From behind, he'll be tracked down and thrown down. As Walker with a monster carry, Bobby Luster caught up to him and brought him down.
Well, that's some kind of wheels from Bobby Luster, because Jalen Walker is on his way to 6. Great cut off the block right there. Luster misses him initially, but look at the rundown. Luster saving a touchdown right there.
48 yards. Walker coming in had 265 on the season. He's over 100.
Plays over.
Short pickup. Gage Biero has a touchdown tonight and a 2-point conversion. 16-13 Bryan. This is an offense. Back-to-back weeks against Millard West and Papillion La Vista South had been shut out. They got a chance on their first drive of the second half to put it in the end zone. But this is where both of these teams have been their own worst enemy tonight, when they get close to the goal line. PRUSIA tosses it to Walker, and the toss is off the mark. Flag is down. Walker picked up the loose ball. Smallwood holds him up long enough for fellow Rabbits to come in and chomp him down. And here is the flag. It is holding on Bryan. So on cue, we have our 16th penalty of the game.
Well, I think you probably decline this one, don't you? Yeah, they're going to lose 7 or 8 on the recovered fumble. So you take the play, 3rd down, and Highway 75 to go.
Tyler Johnson told me earlier this week, just wants his team to realize that they can be in games. They don't lose games before kickoff. And that's the small part before you ever get to the X's and O's, is working with the culture. These kind of games will test you when you have the opportunity to put up a W. Play action fake. Toss toward the end zone, and it is too far for the intended wide receiver, William Grigsby. And it'll now be 4th down. So after the long run by Walker, the Bryan offense stalls. They will go for it on 4th down, but it is 4th down and 18.
But this is kind of how it's gone, right? This Bryan offense gets itself in and around the 20-yard line, and then for some reason just goes into a stall and can't get it any further, whether it's been due to penalties or mishandled ball exchanges. You don't know what exactly, and here comes the yellow flag again.
Flag on the play.
Greg Ottoman getting a lot of airtime tonight. Greg talking with the Bryan quarterback. They're in a disagreement over
false start.
Something, a false start on Bryan. Quick update, they've gone to halftime now. West Side leads Bellevue West 38-34.
Wow. That's more than 70 points in the first half in that one. Hope you took the over.
That game, a high school game, took 2 hours to play in the first half. Maybe they will come close to the 4 hours and 37 minutes of Game 5 of the NLDS last night between the Nationals and the Cubs.
I knew you'd work it in somehow.
I salute all the fellow Cub fans out there who endured last night. The screen is caught and it's not going anywhere. It was defended perfectly by Benson.
First pass is complete to number 5, Will Grigsby.
Yeah, Grigsby's there to make the catch, but
Bunnies will take over first down.
Kid was all over it. Read it well, didn't get sucked too far up the field from his defensive tackle spot. Read the play, made the tackle. Turnover on downs, and Bunny's going to try to get the lead back here with 8:25 to go, 3rd quarter.
So there'll be some frustration on that Bryan sideline. That could have been a big opportunity to put points on the board, and the way your defense is playing, that might have been enough. But now still a field goal lead, and Benson's got the ball back, and Block is on the run. And he bounces off of Jackson, but Block's pretty tough, and that's a quick pickup of nearly 10 yards. Exactly what Benson needed. You see the great speed on the end around as Block turned it up and then cut it back. Boy, Jackson, when he hits you, you feel it.
We've seen him light a couple of cats up tonight. He comes with a little bit of a thunder.
16-13, Bryan leads Benson. Smallwood in motion. And there is a flag on the play. That'll push Benson back 5 yards.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Gary, it's a good thing we don't play on natural grass anymore. These officials will be having to break out the Tide sticks after this one because yellow laundry has been all over the field tonight.
We were talking last week with all the rain that was impacting games. It's actually rare now to see a grass field in Class A in the state of Nebraska. Smallwood in the backfield trying to make something out of nothing. And he will be held up after a pickup of about 5 yards.
Another bad snap for this Benson offense. Ball kind of bouncing around back here. Take a look. Smallwood just scoops it and gets to the outside, finds a little bit of room, picks up a first down.
A bad snap went out of the back of the end zone in the first half, cost Benson a safety. And then a bad snap on 4th down was a turnover. Was, though, enough for a first down. Somehow Smallwood was able to muster his way to a fresh set of downs. Ignowski's pass across the middle is short.
And receivers hate it when you throw that ball short. They're coming across the middle. You got to lead them out there. That's a dangerous one. I think it was Gallion coming across the middle, and boy, he was in a position to get lit up.
2nd down and 10. The Iowa Western game of the week. Game time on YurView. Another end around and block, pinballing off Bears, and the Rascally Rabbit is out to the 44-yard line.
He's just so slippery. Just hard to get a hold of. One of those guys you can never quite get a squared up shot on him, and just keeps squeaking out yard after yard after yard, and now he brings up 3rd and manageable for the Bunnies.
And he just continues along with Walker on the other sideline. So many young, skilled players that are here in the Metro that are playing a lot and playing well. Block and Walker, both sophomores. 3rd down and 3. Benson down by a trio. Snap the ball from the 44. Ignowski. Straight handoff. That's Smallwood across midfield, and that's a first down. And that's pretty simple. Put it in the midsection of Smallwood, and he got you a nice 6-yard pickup.
Well, it harkens back to the first drive of the game, Gary, where Benson had their most success out of any drive they've had so far. They keep it on the ground between the tackles, running it right at this Bryan Bear defense, and having a lot of success doing it.
Benson team that has a lot of speed. A good look at Smallwood, Jalen Smallwood, J-Y-L-A-N. He's a senior. Block in motion, cuts in front of the quarterback, tossed in the near side with blocking. Smallwood broke 1 tackle, broke his 2nd tackle. The 3rd and the 4th slowed him up, and he is brought down after a pickup of about 3 yards.
Well, it's really been, for me, the biggest problem for this Bryan football team on the season is just the amount of times that they have a shot at the ball carrier to either bring him down in the backfield or even for a short gain, and they don't come up with the play. You know, the tackling, the commitment to going into contact and making the tackle, you're just not seeing it on every single play. And that's winning football teams. They make a commitment to good tackling on defense. And it's just something that's got to be instilled in the culture. And I'm sure Tyler Johnson's on his way to doing that.
Inside handoff in the end around to Gallion. And Gallion is pulled down from behind. Good defensive play, stayed home and read it well. Perkins hauls Gallion down for a loss, and it'll be 3rd down and long for the Benson Bunnies.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what happened on the play. it seems like a play where there should be a pulling offensive lineman out in front of him, and it just looks like nobody got out there. There's 4 defenders at the point of attack and no blockers. That's not usually how you draw it up on offense.
So 3rd down and 9. Ignowski, for the most part on this drive, has kept it on the ground. Don't expect him to do it here. 3-step drop, lobs it across the middle, and it is incomplete. Intended for block. Now it's 4th down and 9, out near midfield. What will Tony Kobza elect to do? Down by a field goal here in the 3rd quarter.
At this down and distance, I think it's probably a punt. But who knows? Quarterback on the field, so not me.
Same formation as the previous play. Snap back to Ignowski. He's got some pretty good time now. He's chased out of the pocket. Lobs it across the middle, and it is picked off. Intercepted by Bryan. Policarpe, who was injured in the first half, makes the interception. And a big return gives the Bears with a 3-point lead. Great field position. And what do they say? There are so many things that could go wrong when you throw it across the middle while you're scrambling.
Yeah, you just don't throw late across the middle. Throwing back across his body, off the fingertips of the wide receiver, and Policarp back there kind of playing a little bit of center field, dropped into coverage, makes a good return. And hey, look, Bryan's got the ball, starting field position on the other side of the 50 once again. Will they punch it in this time?
First down carry for short yardage by Perkins.
Tackle will play number 74, Ethan Snow.
Ramondre Perkins, a junior, who is spelled by Jalen Walker, who has been the workhorse tonight. I almost think that Bryan here consumes some clock. If they get any points out of this, a field goal or a touchdown, might be awful tough for Benson when we get to the 4th quarter. Bryan defense is bowed up. Here's Walker cutting to the outside with a stiff arm, a sidestep, and he falls forward about 2 yards shy of the first down.
If we get to see this again, look at the play by Malik Kidd. He's pushing his man all the way into the backfield. You see him right there. Just got to get some help on the outside. That play was meant to go between the tackles. Kidd completely blew it up, and Walker still able to make something out of it.
And a fumble! And a recovery by Benson.
Play. Recovered by the Bunnies.
Well, turnover, and we're right back where we started.
Never got the handoff, and recovered by Benson. On Friday the 13th, we're having nightmares of Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, or Freddy Krueger. Now Benson gets the ball back with 2:57 to go in the 3rd quarter. We'll see if they can sustain a drive. Both of these teams have been their own worst enemy, and you could probably say that about the previous 7 games, as they keep trading the football. Smallwood, good job, cut at the outside. Can he make one more cut to the outside? He does, and he may be just shy of the first down. That was a really good run by Jalen Smallwood to read his blockers and have a little patience, and he got 9 on the first down carry.
First down for the Bunnies.
Well, that's this inside handoff play again, where they bring the opposite wing in motion. Smallwood comes back underneath the play. You get Flo going all the way of the motion man and run that counter action. It's a good looking play.
Reversing field is block. And block's got a first down.
You know, they talk about when a back has good vision. Well, this is good feel because there's no way that MESIAH block can see that cutback lane because he cut 180 degrees right there, back the other way. It's just a feel thing. You can feel how many players have flowed to the strong side of the play, and when you cut it back like that, there's nobody back there on the backside. Good play by the young back.
And he's in motion. They'll go with Smallwood here, and a good tackle right in the hole. Justin Pemberton made a solo tackle. The junior defensive lineman. Good stop. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Bryan defense has played pretty well, all things considered, tonight. They have caused some turnovers. Haven't really let Benson drive deep into their territory outside of the first play of the game, the first series of the game, when they were kind of caught off guard by that onside kick and then the touchdown in the 2nd quarter.
Here's block. Benson couldn't get a seal block on the outside to spring MESIAH. And it'll be 3rd down now.
3rd down for the Bunnies.
Bryan defense that prior to tonight, the last 4 games, they allowed 246 of their 310 points they've allowed this year. Can they get a stop on 3rd down and 4 as we near the minute mark to go in the 3rd quarter? Another Friday night of football. Game time on YurView, the Iowa Western game of the week. Ignowski, watch Smallwood in motion, looks his way, tosses it out of the backfield. He makes the catch, he makes a cut, but he's going to be stopped short of the 1st down.
Ignowski's pass complete, number 4, Jalen Smallwood.
Now you've got a big decision. Probably going to get to the 4th quarter
18, Jacob Whittle, and number 6, AJ
before you have to make it.
That brings up 4th down.
But it looks like Benson's going to go ahead and try to run this play right at the end of the 3rd quarter.
4th down and 2. Tony Kobsa, head coach of the Benson Bunnies. Center over the football. Ignowski looks at his offensive personnel. 4-man rush. Inside handoff to Block. Block trying to get to the outside. He cuts it back up. He's got the 1st down. And now he's got more inside of the 30. And he's knocked down at the 27-yard line by Pemberton. But enough for a 1st down, and that'll carry us with 6 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. What a move by Block.
Well, good patience, because it wasn't there. It wasn't there. And then Block sees the blocker and cuts right off him. And a good little stiff arm of his own to find a little bit of running room and get that 1st down.
Into the 4th quarter we go as Benson's looking for the go-ahead touchdown. Come back for the 4th. It's game time on YurView, the Iowa Western game of the week.
At DieVentures, we want to create a full-service customer experience. Cox Business, as our technology partner, does exactly that. The team at Cox Business came in, took a look at our business, and recommended top-notch solutions. With IP-Centrics, we have a managed, scalable solution to meet all of our customer needs. We get hundreds of phone calls a day, thousands over the course of a week. Because we have Cox Business, we can focus on what we love to do, being on the water and in the water.
At Woodhouse Auto Family, the buying experience is different, and the over 27,000 customers who bought from us last year know why. Our knowledgeable sales staff know the brands, the products, and take time to get to know you and guide you to your perfect vehicle. And that experience continues with any of our 16 service locations, and with trained advisors and technicians to help you maintain your vehicle. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse.
Bouncy ball. Look, it's almost alive.
Advertising used to be simple. Make an ad, put it on TV, get results. Today, with all the new viewing options, it's a lot more complex. At Cox Media, we make the complex simple. With precise targeting, transparency, and automation, we connect advertisers to audiences. Anyone, anywhere, on any screen. Advertising simplified. Contact Cox Media to learn more.
We get ready for the start of the 4th quarter. from Bryan Stadium. Sugar Bears trying to will their team on their second victory of the year as Benson is driving here at the fourth quarter. First down and 10. Ignowski puts it up towards the end zone, and it is incomplete. He was looking for Gallion. He kind of threw that into no man's land. Probably pretty fortunate to not get picked off. Wild game going on at Westside tonight. Avante Dickerson, who we've seen really develop this year as a true freshman at Westside, returns the opening kickoff of the second half for a touchdown. Second time he's returned a kickoff for a touchdown for Westside. They're now 45-34 on Bellevue West. Into the fourth quarter, North leads Millard South 21-17. Burke is shutting out Lincoln North Star 28-0. We have Burke and Bellevue West next week. Kearney leads Prep 10-0. Elkhorn South leads Elkhorn Mount Michael 55-0. Smallwood on a second down carry lost the football, or no, he's down. There's pushing and shoving going on, and no one stopped it. Almost like somebody with the wrong guy had the ball as Smallwood was down on the field turf here at Bryan Stadium. And now it's third down and 10, and Smallwood's got to come out of the game.
Yeah, that was an odd play. It looked like a rugby scrum, and Smallwood was already down after a 2-yard gain.
So now third down and 8. Tricky situation for the Benson Bunnies. Sophomore quarterback Ignowski. Snap back to him. Now chased out of the pocket. Looking downfield's got to get rid of it, and his pass is incomplete. Now it's fourth down. So both of these teams, when they've gotten in almost the similar spot on the field, stall.
Well, that was pretty lucky for Ignowski. He had Mefford open, but he did not see the big defensive lineman, Justin Pemberton, who had gotten out and was trying to chase down the quarterback, threw it right into the face mask of Pemberton.
Fourth down for the Bunnies.
Pemberton maybe getting a little bit of razzing from his defensive teammates. Hey, big fella, why don't you make the catch? It's an interception right in your face.
Kearney has scored. They now lead Prep 17-7. 7 minutes to go out in central Nebraska in that game. Kearney unbeaten. Ignowski's pass is broken up. Curtis broke it up. The intended wide receiver was Landon Grayer. And 6'4", Antoine Curtis broke it up, and he's reminding everyone there that he gets a PBU.
Well, it's not often you see a 6'4", 185 high school cornerback. He comes in and puts a shoulder right into Grayer. And whew.
Iowa Western has the career choices that fit your busy schedule. Come to campus, study online, or enroll in evening classes now. Visit iwcc.edu. Iowa Western, the world is waiting. We're waiting for points here in the second half. 16-13. Bryan gets the ball back after a defensive stop. Walker with the carry. Walker's not going anywhere except into the waiting arms of Malik Kidd.
Play by number 50, Malik Kidd.
Well, from a Benson perspective, they're pretty fortunate that that was a run play, because fullback Gage Biero, when he went in motion, nobody went with him. He was standing in acres of space out on the perimeter. It was a run play inside, but there was nobody around him.
That's a loss of 5. Bryan with the ball up by a field goal. Both of these teams coming into tonight's contest 1-6. PRUSIA goes out, throws down the field. It is caught by Curtis, and that's a first down. His second catch of the night, and both have been for big chunk plays. This one carries the Bears all the way out to the 37-yard line.
First down.
Yeah, Curtis he's going to flash into your picture right there. Nobody really around him. Easy catch for the big fella.
Curtis at 6'4". Bryan, watch them in the wintertime. Boys basketball. They will have a loaded roster. And the fullback carry is going to be for a first down.
Carry on the play. Number 11, Gage Biero.
Biero, who has been a nice changeup to Walker tonight. That is a first down carry and into Benson territory, and it's been kind of nice and simple on this drive for Bryan.
Yeah, you get an easy completion to Curtis. And then the big run from Biero. We'll see if they get Jalen Walker involved here.
Biero again. This time stopped in the hole for maybe a yard.
Tackle on the play by number 15, Cam Parks.
Cam Parks.
I'll bring up second down for the
Back
Bears.
and quarterback as well makes the stop.
Fullback trap. Good block by left guard number 50, Brock Mertz. Comes across and blows out Malik Kidd. Didn't quite get much on the back end of it, but a good block up front. Well executed play.
Oh, a quick update from the college game. Syracuse leads Clemson 27-24 with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and the Qs have the ball in New York. Here's Walker. He has the ball, and boy, he attacks the defender head on. Runs him over for a couple of extra yards.
But you know what? There's good courage by Grayer on the back end of this thing. He's going to take a punishment, and he knows it, but he sticks his nose right in there and hangs on, gets the running back to the ground. That's what you need against the big back. You need folks on the defensive side of that ball who are willing to take a trucking to get the running back to the ground. Good job by Grayer.
Bryan with a drive that is eating up clock, up by a field goal. Same exact score we had at the break. Not much yardage on third down, and Biero, we'll see if he was able to get the first down. Greg Ottoman, our referee, is eyeing the sticks across the way. He says fourth down. So,
well, how about that? Another big fourth down for the Bears. Now, a lot of fourth downs for them have been plagued by penalties. They've had 4th and 1, 4th and goal situations where they've committed a penalty and then put themselves behind the sticks. See what happens here.
Need maybe half a yard, and it's an easy first down pickup for Bryan.
Well, we sit right next to the Benson coaching staff who's up here in the booth, and they're all yelling, quarterback sneak, quarterback sneak. Good job by that Bryan offense. You spread them out and then sneak it right up in behind the center. 3-yard gain on the quarterback sneak.
There were a lot of Benson defenders up bunching the line of scrimmage. So the clock continues to roll, and Bryan gets another set of downs.
Bryan can punch this one into the end zone. It could be a knockout punch type of score.
Westside has scored. They're up 52-34 on Bellevue West with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. The toss to Walker, slowed up in the backfield. And what a defensive play to come up and stop Walker by Devin Williams, and then he got some help.
And just like his coach said at half, got to go low. It was a good job by Williams to get down around the thighs, knees area. Bring Walker to the ground for minimal gain. A little bit of a loss, actually.
So this long drive by Bryan faces 2nd down and 12. PRUSIA trying to maneuver his personnel. This is a big play here. Benson brings pressure. PRUSIA's pass is caught. It'll be short of the first down. All hung up there for a long time before Grigsby brought it in. And again, another 3rd down and short here for Bryan, and this might be the game for Benson.
Brings up 3rd down and 5 for the Bears.
Well,
the bunny 30-yard line.
Yeah, as you said, Gary, this ball hangs up in the air, gives Raylan Mays a lot of time to close on it, or else Grigsby might have had a chance to turn and go upfield if that's delivered on a line. But right here, Monster third down in this game.
3rd down and 5. Lone back is Walker. PRUSIA keeps it. Chased out of the backfield. He makes a move! What a play by the quarterback for Bryan.
First time we've seen it tonight, a designed quarterback keeper. Caught this Benson defense napping a little bit. PRUSIA gets the pulling guard out in front. Good cut to get back up into the middle of the field.
First down and goal for the Bears.
And then
Ball's on the bunny 8-yard line.
Mefford comes through with the big tackle, or PRUSIA might have scored.
Now they have 1st and goal at the 8. With 5 minutes to go. Walker out of the backfield. PRUSIA looks that way, throws it. Touchdown, Grigsby.
Lilly's pass is incomplete to number 5, Will Grigsby. That play's good for a Bryan High.
Just a nice little quick hitter off the slant. Grigsby gets in front of the safety, gets into the end zone. Well delivered ball by PRUSIA.
The underneath route was there. And the completion and the score. PAT from Danny Lay from going up by 10. And it is no good. Oh, it is good.
Extra point is good by number 85, Danny.
Up 10, 23-13. Bryan leads Benson as you see the touchdown pass from PRUSIA to Grigsby.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
Sugar Bears like that touchdown drive by Bryan. Is that enough to give them their 2nd victory of the season? Now they have a 10-point lead with just 4:51 to go as we welcome you back to Bryan Stadium. Game time on YurView, the Iowa Western game of the week, along with John Schreiner, Megan Scoglio on the field. We'll hear from Megan coming up after this one is over. I'm Gary Sharp, and our fantastic crew who will wrap up the regular season next week at Bellevue West when they play host to Omaha Burke. Wild, wild game in the Metro tonight involving the T-Birds, who are trying to protect a 20-game winning streak. They trail 52-41 to Omaha Westside with 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter of that game. As Bryan will kick off, and Benson needs a big return here. This is a short kickoff, and they're going to get some help because it goes out of bounds.
Please kick goes
That's,
out of bounds.
what, the 3rd kickoff out of bounds tonight for Bryan? You're giving the 35-yard line on virtually every kickoff. That's something you've got to iron out. It's, you know, the big things: speed, catching ability, quarterback play. These teams have it down pretty well. Little things: not jumping offside, don't kick the ball out of bounds, center quarterback exchange, quarterback running back exchange. Those little things, the basics, they just don't quite have it all together.
Block in motion, the toss to him. Trick play and mishandled, loose on the turf. Picked up by Benson. Oh, they averted just a complete disaster as Luster on the trick play is able to pick up the loose pigskin. It'll be 2nd down and a long way for Benson. Oh my.
Yeah, it's this one gets blown up before it can really ever get started. Polycarp gets in there and gets a hand on MESIAH block before he makes the pitch, and And then it was kind of Katie bar the door from there.
High snap to Ignowski. The screen is completed, but for minimal yardage to Smallwood to the 25-yard line, and it'll set up 3rd down and 10.
Can't say enough about how Bryan's defense has come out in this second half and really just shut down everything that Benson has wanted to do. Smallwood had himself a nice first half, and he has been almost non-existent here in the second.
Ignowski chased out of the backfield, now on the run, trying to look for some help, tosses it down the field. It is caught for a 1st down. Mefford, who caught a touchdown pass earlier, or I beg your pardon, now to be long, and looking at the sticks across the way. So 4th down and 4.
That brings up 4th down for the Bunnies.
Well, it now or never for the Bunnies. You got to pick this up, or it might be ball game.
Ignowski's pass caught by Block. That is a 1st down.
Ignowski's pass is complete to number 1, MESIAH Block.
And he immediately cramps up on the back end of it, but oh my goodness, what a catch by the sophomore.
Ignowski just slung it up there, and Block reaches up and makes a catch to keep the night alive for Benson.
Between 2 defenders, off the fingertips, he pulls it in. What a play by the youngster.
Only a sophomore. Coming into tonight, he had 23 catches on the year to go along with his 37 carries. Cramps in week number 8, 3:13 to go. Benson desperate need of a 4th down conversion, and they got it. The Reavers are back in action this season. Follow Iowa Western's championship sports teams, including football and volleyball, at GoReavers.com. Iowa Western, the world is waiting. Highly ranked football and volleyball teams. We're in Council Bluffs. Football number 2 in the junior college rankings. Volleyball in the top 5 as Block will limp to the sidelines. Now it's key here. Only 3:13 remaining. How long he remains on the sidelines. They do have Jalen Smallwood. But Block is the other offensive weapon as the sophomore quarterback, Anthony Ignowski, trying to drive Benson down the field. Down by 10. 3:10 to go in the game. Ignowski's pass caught. Smallwood touchdown.
How about it? 2 monster passing plays, 1 on 4th down, trailing by 10. Ignowski with ice water in the veins leads the Bunnies down for a score.
That's a little pitch and catch in traffic. Smallwood with the reception. Now the PAT to draw the Bunnies within a field goal. Ignowski is the place kicker as well. This is a big extra point, and it is good, and it is a 3-point game once again. As Benson responds, they drive down the field, convert a 4th down, Block, and then Smallwood help out the quarterback, Anthony Ignowski. And still a lot of time to go, 3:02 as Tony Kobza, encouraged by that drive and by the touchdown happening after Block left the field. They'll be able to have MESIAH Block on the sidelines work out any cramping issues that he has, and hopefully be able to go right back out there when they get the ball back. But they will have to make a stop on defense or force a turnover. Tony Kobza in his 6th year, 6-46.
Kicking off for the Bunnies, number 13, Anthony Ignowski.
It's a big win for whoever can pull this out. You get to 2 wins on the season. Tony Kobza in his 2nd year got 2 wins. Tyler Johnson, no wins a year ago. He's got 1 this year, but it's a win late in the season that can sort of springboard you into those summer workouts and into next fall. It's one of those wins that, I mean, you're not going to say it's a program changer, but it could be sort of a momentum builder as you head into this offseason after next week.
Bryan is anticipating an onside kick. Again, Ignowski is also the place kicker. And here's a little pooch, and it will land out of bounds.
Flag on play.
Omaha North remains unbeaten tonight. They win 28-17 against Millard South, stopping the Patriots' 5-game winning streak. So after the penalty for the ball going out of bounds, Bryan's going to get good field position. 3:02 to go. We will watch the strategy for Tony Kobza in terms of his timeouts, how it will unfold. Bryan will have the ball at the 48-yard line, up by a field goal. Earlier this year, they snapped a 28-game losing streak when they won at Omaha Central. Can they win their second? Trying to hold on. PRUSIA keeps it. And tackled in the backfield. Ran into his running back, Walker. And by then, there were 3 white jerseys all over him. And a timeout taken by Benson. That play took 6 seconds off the clock. 89.7 The River is your home to awesome alternative rock music. Check us out on the stream at 897theriver.com or search the App Store for 89.7 The River, Iowa Western. The world is waiting. Our final game of the regular season next Friday night at 7 o'clock. Omaha Burke and Bellevue West. Again, the wild game going on between Bellevue West and Omaha West Side. Score has not changed since our earlier update. It was 38-34 at halftime. Now it's still 52-41. Westside has the ball, and there's lots of time to go in that game. We might be able to get done here and then drive over to Westside High School and see the fourth quarter.
How about 93 points, 3 quarters of football over there?
Mike Huffman, the head coach of the T-Birds, will not be happy. That defensive room will be an unpleasant place this week as the T-Birds have won 20 in a row. But they played pretty well defensively the last 3 weeks. They've only given up 2 scores. 2nd down and 12. And we have a penalty. But who jumped first?
Ball start on the Bears.
Bryan will be pushed back 5 yards.
2nd down and 17.
Well, now it makes it harder to pick up that first down that you need for Bryan to put this game on ice. You're hoping that you run a few plays, pick up a first down, force Benson to use all their timeouts, and then you run the clock out. Well, now you've got about 17 yards instead of 10, and you only have 3 downs to do it.
The toss to Walker, running to the near side. Had a block, but Smallwood got off the block and made a tackle. And another timeout taken by Benson. It'll be 3rd down and long. And this scenario for Bryan, it has taken exactly 15 seconds off the clock. So now it's 3rd down and 17. Benson trying to get the ball back. We expect a lot of offense next week.
Yes, we do.
Burke and Bellevue West. We saw Burke and Westside a couple of weeks ago, and you've heard us talking about Bellevue West. There will be all kinds of Division I prospects on the field Friday night at Bellevue West. 7 o'clock airtime. Cox 13. Join us in HD, 1013, or online at YurView.com.
How about the sneaky
Iowa Western game of the week?
How about the sneaky running back battle in that one between the youngster, Javon Ducker, and the junior, who we got to see earlier this season, James Burks. It's a good one to look at.
2 teams that will be battling for a district championship, possibly. And to avoid being in the same side of the bracket as #1 Omaha North. Third down and 13. The pass is caught by Curtis along the near sideline. It stops the clock with 2:41 to go, and it brings up 4th down.
Situational awareness right there. Even if you're near the sideline, you fall down in bounds and try to keep the clock rolling. Unable to do it, and now Benson doesn't have to take a timeout.
We've all got those Friday the 13th feels if you like to avoid this day. Clemson has been knocked off in college football, the #2 team in the country. 11-game winning streak snapped by Syracuse, 27-24. Bryan with the ball on 4th down, up by a field goal. They're just trying to draw Benson offside, and Benson does a great job. They don't flinch. You can see the reaction by the sideline across the way. And now Bryan will punt the football away as they took the timeout. And they have given Benson all kinds of opportunities to organize an offensive game plan. Down by a field goal, and they're going to get the football back with plenty of time here at Bryan Stadium. Don't miss any of the action that we bring to you on a weekly basis. Go to yourview.com/football and sign up for the Game Time newsletter to get the previous week's highlights, stories, and recruiting news, along with a preview of the upcoming week's matchups delivered straight to your inbox. Like this week, you would have been alerted to a great showdown in Oklahoma and Arizona that we're bringing to you across the Game Time YurView family. Go ahead, fill it out. Every Wednesday, we receive a primer on the week. Get to know all of our coverage across the platforms. Hope you're enjoying tonight. This one is long from being over, as Benson's going to get an opportunity. Bryan's still going to go for it.
Has Bryan punted all night? I can't remember one.
They need 6 yards. PRUSIA's pass is incomplete, and again it stops the clock. That drive took 25 seconds off the clock. Benson gets the ball down a field goal with 2:37 to go.
How about this? Here we said it, Gary. It might come down to whoever has the ball last.
Bunnies live, 1st down and 10. Balls on their
Can Anthony Ignowski engineer another one of those drives like he did last time?
MESIAH Block is back in the game after a big 4th down reception. Left due to cramps, he's back. Let's find him and Jalen Smallwood. They eye each other in this formation. And the snap is a poor one. Ignowski's got to fall on top of it. Again, a poor snap hurts Benson, but in this case, the sophomore quarterback did the right thing. Not trying to scoop it, just trying to fall on top of it, and it is 2nd and very long with 2:20 to go.
That is a killer.
The clock is running. The snap earlier in the game resulted in a safety. 2nd down and 30, empty backfield. Ignowski's pass caught by Smallwood, breaks one tackle. Finally is hammered to the turf at the 40. It'll still be a lengthy ways to go. The clock is running. Benson quickly up to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, 3rd and about 13 to go. You don't have to get it all, remember. You're definitely going to go on 4th down. So you can complete this pass in front of the sticks. It's okay.
They've got to get into Bryan territory. Snap back to Ignowski. Chased out of the pocket. Lobs it deep down the field, and it is incomplete. And the wide receiver was Luster.
Yeah, I understand the temptation to go for it all right there. But I think he had MESIAH Block open over the middle of the field. I think if he just pulls his eyes down a little bit, he can find Block, and Block might even have a chance to pick up the 1st down.
Stops the clock with 90 seconds to go. Is it rabbit season? The Bunnies are down by a field goal. 4th down and 13. They have to get to about the 46-yard line of the Bryan Bears. Snap back to Ignowski. The rush is on. He lobs it deep down the field, and it is intercepted.
Ignowski's pass intercepted.
And Bryan is going to win their 2nd game of the season. Jack Wiebelhaus makes the interception.
Just had to put it up in the air. He gave his receiver a chance, but WIEBELHAUS just went and made a play.
So Bryan, who prior to this season, they hadn't won a game, losing streak had reached 28, and then they went into the 3rd week of the season. And they won at Omaha Central, and now, barring something crazy, they are going to win their 2nd game of the season.
Here in play with number 11.
Benson will call their final timeout. A minute 18 to go.
Hard-fought game on both sides. Never felt like either team was out of it. Wasn't the cleanest played game, but both teams just kept their heads in it. And
get a look at the Bryan sideline. All Game Time high school football contests are streamed live each week at YurView.com. Also check back throughout the week for game highlights and additional coverage, including the new weekly high school football recruiting podcast, Over the Middle, with host Jeremy Crabtree. I'm sure Syracuse upsetting Clemson tonight will be mentioned next week by Jeremy and his fine lineup of guests. Again, go ahead and bookmark YurView.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YurViewOM. You can interact with us during the game. Maybe you're at the game. You could tweet at us. Tell us you're here and you love the coverage. PRUSIA takes a knee, but guess what? There's a flag on the field. It'll stop the clock.
False start on Bryan. This is
false start in kind of a victory formation is not easy to do. Tyler Johnson, in his 2nd year, is about to win his 2nd game. All this season. They returned 14 starters off a team that went 0-9 last year. But they've preserved through this one. They were up 16-13 at halftime, and then a 23-13 before Benson got a touchdown pass from Mignowski to Smallwood. But the 4th down interception is giving the ball back to Bryan. But as we have seen throughout this game, this will not be a clean ending.
And our officiating crew is having some trouble sorting this thing out as well. Not exactly sure what's going on. It was a pretty clear false start penalty against Bryan. Move him back 5 yards and play football, right? I mean,
that's why we put you in charge. Yeah. Tony Kobza across the way is in a lengthy discussion with a couple of the officials. I think on where they're going to put the ball, I believe. 5:51 to go in the 3rd quarter. Bellevue West has scored. Mr. Ducker, who you just spoke of, his 5th touchdown, 52-48. Westside leads Bellevue West. I think that Westside has the ball. They are now in a 4-corner offense to stall and run out the clock in the 3rd quarter. So they will wind the clock here. It is 2nd down for Bryan.
penalty was declined, so it is 3rd down. So that discussion, I guess, was about where the ball should be spotted because of how far back the quarterback takes the snap and takes a knee.
And
Bears.
Bryan let the clock run down, and then they called timeout.
Bizarre ending to this one, Gary, and we would have it no other way. Why not, through 3.5 quarters, we've had a bizarre one? Would we not just have a bizarre finish?
Here is the top 10 prior to tonight's contest. Omaha North, #1, they have 1. Kearney winning. Burke winning. Lincoln High has 1. Bellevue West in a wild game that was only in the 3rd quarter, but now they've come back to within 4. Creighton Prep falls tonight. Millard West won last night against Omaha Central 45-7. Millard South fell to Omaha North Westside and Bellevue West playing that crazy game, and then Grand Island is number 10. They're now 4-4. Week number 8 of 9 weeks of the regular season here in Nebraska. So 47.6 seconds to go. Benson is out of timeouts. Some of us are out of patience. And Bryan will take a knee. And there was almost a personal foul on the lineman for Bryan, who did not like a Benson defender, Devin Williams, being in his ear hole.
But I'm wondering, Gary, you're taking a shotgun snap in victory formation. This seems unnecessarily dangerous.
Now, this more than likely will be the final play of the game, but you never know. It is 4th down. And they let the clock run all the way down to 3.3 seconds to go.
Call a timeout.
So,
well, I don't. You can take the snap and just run backwards out of the back of the end zone. It'll take 3 seconds, and you still win by 1. I mean, right? I'm not crazy.
But this may not be a scenario that Bryan has worked on very much. So this is all kind of new and trying to juggle the clock. Well, we kind of knew that it would not be real easy tonight. We knew that it would be kind of a strange game. 2 evenly matched teams. And Bryan is now 3.3 seconds away from going to 2-6 on the season. Tony Kobza has had lengthy discussions here in the last 3.5 minutes with the official on his sideline. You see him at the top of the screen. He's taking his hat off. He's pacing back and forth. We just want to see the end of 3.3 seconds. I think they're going to add time to the clock. That's what they're waiting on. They're motioning up towards us here in the press box. There is Tony Kobza.
Looks like there's going to be 5 seconds on the clock, maybe. Yeah, 5 seconds now on the clock. Just run backwards.
And that's what he will do. PRUSIA will go down, and Bryan will put a notch into the victory column as they hold on to win tonight, 23-20. Their second victory of the season. In a season in which they snapped a 28-game losing streak, they win 23-20 over Benson to grab win number 2. Highlights, stats, interviews, player of the game, all that still to come.
Where will the next generation of caregivers come from? Who trains them? Who mentors them? Who inspires them? At CHI Health, we believe in the power of education. As partners with Creighton University, we're advancing a new era of academic health care. We're researching and collaborating to bring more minds to every case, every patient, every day. We're giving the future of care a new home. CHI Health. Imagine that.
You're the decision maker, weighing every option to make the smartest choice. That's why you start with Nebraska Medicine, an entire network of top providers working together to keep you healthy. From extraordinary primary care to world-leading research and treatments, so you can be confident everyone's health is in good hands. The state's most comprehensive care in 19 locations. Nebraska Medicine.
At Woodhouse Auto Family, the buying experience is different, and the over 27,000 customers who bought from us last year know why. Our knowledgeable sales staff know the brands, the products, and take time to get to know you and guide you to your perfect vehicle. And that experience continues with any of our 16 service locations. and with trained advisors and technicians to help you maintain your vehicle. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse.
You're watching this week's Game Time on YurView. There are a happy bunch of Bears. They win tonight 23-20, and they are joining Megan Scoglio on the field. Megan?
All right, guys, big smiles on your faces. What does this win mean to you?
You know, it's huge. It's the first home win we've had in 3 years. So, I mean, it's great to break that streak.
What did you think of your team's effort today?
Oh, phenomenal. Finished the whole game. It was great.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Let's get Jalen in here. You had 20 carries for 150 yards. What was working for you today?
Just holding on to the ball, running hard. You know, my team helped me out, opening holes for me, you know, so I can get my yardage.
How good does this win feel for you guys?
It feels good. We've been working in practice really hard. We just been, you know, I can't just thank my team. Yeah.
Go thank them. Go congrats.
There you see Jalen Walker coming into your living room with a big pickup, a big night for him, and a big night for the Bryan Bears. First home win in 3 years. 23-20. We've got more from Bryan Stadium after this.
You're the decision maker, weighing every option to make the smartest choice. That's why you start with Nebraska Medicine, an entire network of top providers working together to keep you healthy. From extraordinary primary care to world-leading research and treatments, so you can be confident everyone's health is in good hands. The state's most comprehensive care in 19 locations. Nebraska Medicine.
When kids have internet access at home, they're more successful in the classroom. If your child is a K-12 student and your family receives government assistance, you could qualify for discounted Cox high-speed internet for only $9.95 a month. To enroll, call 855-222-3252 or visit cox.com/C2C. And while you're there, check out the Cox Digital Academy for educational tools and web tips for the whole family.
(23-20), Bryan defeats Benson. The Bryan Bears win their second game of the season, and as their head coach Tyler Johnson mentioned, their first home win in 3 years. They will enjoy this one on the next to last game of the regular season. This was a strange one. It wasn't pretty, but at the end of the night, Bryan is happy to get out of here with their second win of the season. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from tonight's contest.
Well, it was back and forth early on. Had that weird little pooch kick that Benson recovered to start the game, and then Ignowski hits Mefford. But later in that first quarter, the bad snap, we're going to see more of that. And it was 6-2. Bryan able to march the ball down the field. And how about this one? Great catch by JAPRECE LILLY. And that made it 8-6 early going. A good run and a good first half from Benson running back. Jalen Smallwood, he had a heck of a first half. Gage Biero, look at this run. He punches one in the end zone. He'd also get the 2-point conversion. And MESIAH Block, the young sophomore that we featured, he had himself a pretty good night as well. Ultimately, though, some big mistakes just hindered this Benson offense. Bryan offense was plagued by penalty after penalty after penalty. But Jalen Walker, he's able to make up for it. Turnovers on both sides, and look at Walker. Hard into contact all night long. Then a late touchdown to Grixby. Benson, though, not done. They're going to come back and answer this thing. Couple of big passes. Then Ignowski finds his wide receiver. Guess who? Smallwood into the end zone. They would get the ball back one more time, but a fourth down interception sealed the fate, and it's Bryan going home with the win.
23-20. A game that featured 19 combined penalties, but also featured some pretty balanced offense on the Benson side. A quarterback battle tonight was pretty good. As you can look at the final totals, 67 yards of total offense for Benson and 281 for Bryan. There were moments for both offenses, and then there were some really good moments by both defenses. We saw some young players that'll be guys to watch as we move forward, both of these teams. And it's progress. You know, it's slow for both of these programs, but their coaches are very encouraged about what they could accomplish this late in the year. And Bryan will enjoy this. This will feel really good. But I think there is some very much some things to take away for Benson that they can build on as they get ready for the final regular season game and carry it into the offseason.
Yeah, I think that they definitely have some building blocks in, you know, guys like Anthony Ignowski, MESIAH Block, and Jaleel Lee, one of the other wide receivers who can be an explosive player. Just got to find ways to get the ball in the hands of those guys. And you can't say enough about the night that senior Jalen Smallwood had for the Bears as well.
Final score, Bryan defeats Benson by a score of 23-20. The Bryan Bears are now 2-6. Benson falls to 1-7. And we are on to the final Friday night of the regular season. Next week, we should have a great showdown. Two of the top teams in Class A. The defending Class A champion, Bellevue West Thunderbirds, play host to the Omaha Burke Bulldogs. We'll be on there at 7 with another edition of the Iowa Western Game of the Week. For Megan SCOGLIO, for John Schreiner, for our statistician, Joe Ziski, for our entire crew, I'm Gary Sharp, reminding you of the final again, 23-20, Bryan over Benson. Good night, everybody.